Chapter 469, Retaliation from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, Qiangan Kingdom. Although I was able to obtain the Saint Ruler's skeleton, you have found trouble with me. I no longer need to abide by our earlier agreement. Wait and see, when I have time, I will visit again to merit out fairness. Jian Chen muttered under his breath as he floated in the air. At the same time, he felt worried about the Huang family. Although he had once helped Huang Wan, the skeleton of a saint ruler wasn't beneath a ruler armament in rarity and value. Whether or not the patriarch of the Huang family would trouble him for the skeleton, Jian Chen didn't know. All he knew was that the skeleton was indeed a great boon for the patriarch if he had gotten it. However, as an imperial protector of the Qinhuang kingdom, Jian Chen held a certain amount of power over even the greatest of clans on the continent. Even the patriarch of the Huang family would presumably avoid overstepping his boundaries to deal with Jian Chen. It seems that being able to use the chaotic force is even more important than ever. This way, I will have a weapon to use against those of the Saint Ruler level. Jian Chen muttered in resolute determination. After he returned, he would refine the energy within the Saint Ruler's skeleton straight away. Transforming into a jet of azure and violet light, Jian Chen flew off in the direction of the Jessan kingdom before ultimately disappearing into the horizon. At the same time in the Heavenly Eagle kingdom, a single squadron had entered the imperial palace. All the guards had knelt on both sides as a polite gesture of welcoming. After several days of traveling, the second prince and the prime minister had finally returned to the imperial palace of the Heavenly Eagle kingdom. The very moment they had entered the palace, the travel-weary second prince and prime minister instantly dismounted from their horses and walked straight for the halls to report to the king. Notified of their arrival to the large halls for a discussion within the palace, the king had sat in his throne. On both sides, 20 armored experts stood without moving, looking more like statues than humans. Each one of them was stony-faced, but their eyes emitted a sharp contrast. The second prince and prime minister walked into the palace. When they saw the king sitting high above upon his throne, they immediately knelt down in subservience. Your servant pays his respect to his majesty. Your child pays his respects to his majesty. Taking the teacup offered to him by the nearby maid, the king smiled. Let's skip the formalities. My son, prime minister, has our proposal with the Jessan kingdom gone smoothly? Father, the Jessan kingdom is far too insolent. Not only do they see themselves as higher than everyone else, but they do not even see our Heavenly Eagle kingdom as above them. Not only did they injure Senior Georgian, we were barely able to escape from the imperial palace. The second prince immediately told the king what had transpired in the Jessan kingdom and had added his own details to it to make it seem even worse. Hearing the second prince speak, the king's smile slowly began to grow darker and darker until he looked to the prime minister and asked slowly, Prime Minister, is what my son says true? Has the Jessan kingdom acted in such a way? Your Majesty, the second prince speaks truly. The Jessan kingdom has without a doubt placed our Heavenly Eagle kingdom beneath them. Furthermore, Georgian was indeed injured by them and they were just about to take us in forever. The prime minister spoke respectfully. What bullies they are! The king roared angrily as his hand slapped the armrest of his throne. Men! Call for Senior Georgian. Yes. A guard immediately ran off. Quickly, the pale-faced Georgian came running into the hall and knelt before the king. Are you fine, Georgian? The king asked in concern. When it came to Heaven Saint Masters, he had to make sure to treat them well. Georgian nodded his head. Given some time, I will heal. With that, the king listened to Georgian give his explanation. Although there were slight deviations to what the second prince and prime minister said, the main points were still the same. It was these main points that caused the king of the Heavenly Eagle kingdom to take on a nasty expression. You there, bring 1,000-year ginseng from my personal collection. The king commanded to one of the palace maids. Yes, your majesty. The maid obeyed before leaving. Senior Georgian, not too long ago, I received 1,000-year-old ginseng. I present this to you in hopes of a speedy recovery. As for the matter with the Jesson kingdom, this king will make sure justice is made. When the Jesson kingdom was mentioned, the king's eyes flashed dangerously. Georgian smiled, "Thank you, your majesty, for your concern. However, the one called Changyang Xiangtian of the Jesson kingdom must be treated with care. He is not only a genius among geniuses, but he wields an incredibly powerful energy that can damage the saint weapons of even a heaven saint master. It was because of this power that I was injured. Then there is even more reason to kill him. Otherwise, our heavenly eagle kingdom will have a powerful threat in the future." The king spoke. After Georgian left, the king returned to his throne and looked down at the two subjects still kneeling before him. With a royal air befitting that of the king, he spoke, "Prime Minister Che, have you made certain of the relationship between the Jesson kingdom and the Qinhuang kingdom?" "Your Majesty, your servant has investigated the matter. As the king has imagined, the relationship between the two kingdoms isn't close at all. By the time I arrived at the imperial palace, the imperial advisors had already left. After my talks with the Jesson kingdom's king, I speculate that even the king himself does not know what brought the Qinhuang kingdom to help them." Is that it?" The heavenly eagle kingdom's king let out a smile. "It seems that our biggest worry would be that Changyang Xiangtian then. If he was able to become a heaven saint master at such an age and have some sort of powerful ability to damage a heaven saint master's saint weapon, that cannot be let to stand. It is unfortunate that he is not from our heavenly eagle kingdom. Fine, you two must be tired from your travels, go and rest up. The rest, I will take care of." "Yes, your majesty." Half a day later, 8 heaven saint masters had been gathered within the depths of the imperial palace of the heavenly eagle kingdom. After talking for an hour, they all left, but 2 additional people had joined their ranks to make a total of 10. 2 days later, the air within the imperial palace was different than before. The black armors continued to patrol the entire palace while the king himself strolled around it in an extremely pleasant mood. At the current moment, he was playing chess with Yi Ming. He was no longer worried about the future development of the Jesson kingdom. That was because there was now an incredible strong mountain of a power backing up the entire kingdom. Bang! Suddenly, a large explosion rocked the entire palace, causing it to shudder. A bright red light could be seen as it filled the entire place and sent rubble flying everywhere. Chapter 470, Calamity at the Palace. While playing chess within the garden with Yi Ming, the king was startled to hear an explosive sound ring out. Straight away, the both of them flew up from their seats and looked in the direction of the palace. "What has happened?" the king asked with narrowed eyebrows. When he saw the fiery light flash over the sky, he instantly realized something bad had happened. Yi Ming stared in that direction with confusion for a moment before a change of expression washed over his face. "Not good, there's a mishap going on." With that, Yi Ming's body instantaneously disappeared as he flew toward the palace at high speeds. Right at the location of the palace gates, the previously grand-looking palace walls had crumbled to mere rubble that lay strewn across the ground. About 20 bloody soldiers could be seen unconscious around the rubble, but whether they were alive or not remained to be seen. The azure-colored marble that paved the ground had burned remains from the fierce fire that had flashed over it, making the entire place as hot as the inside of a steamer basket. Above the broken city walls, 10 men wearing different colored clothing could be seen floating 20 meters in the sky. Each one of them were heaven saint masters and observed the sight below them with an icy stare. The commotion in the area caused all of the guards within the palace to come running along with the experts to this part. But whenever someone arrived and saw the 10 experts floating up above them, each one of them grew extremely pale in the face. "God damn, those are heaven saint masters. Sound the alarm, the enemies are here." An Earth Saint Master cried out an order with quivering lips. 10 Saint Masters was a number that the Jesson Kingdom would find hard to repel. Dong! 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 The sounds of several battle drums could be heard soon enough, with their sounds reverberating through the air and throughout the palace. This alarm was the highest level alarm that hadn't been heard for more than a few dozen years. In the case that it was rung, it meant that the palace was in immediate danger of an extremely large threat. It was an alarm that forced everyone to put down whatever they were doing and defend the palace against the enemy. The alarm caused every single soldier and any other expert not yet there to be startled into disbelief. Quickly, they gathered themselves up and immediately headed for the palace gates to see what had happened. A single large source of energy could be felt from within the palace as the water-attributed Yi Ming came flying forward. In an instant, he came to a stop right in front of the palace gates. Staring hard at the 10 Heaven Saint Masters, his concentration was focused solely on them and not on the broken rubble beneath him. "Who are you?" Yi Ming asked. Among the 10, a single rich-dressed elder laughed coldly. "We are from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. Bring out the princess of the Jessen Kingdom as well as the one called Changyang Xiangtian right away. It would be best if you don't force us to look for them ourselves. Otherwise, the consequences for your kingdom would be far too dire to accept." The Heavenly Eagle Kingdom? So you dare to behave so atrociously toward our Jessen Kingdom? You really take us to be a kingdom that is easily bullied. Yi Ming growled with an extremely serious expression. With there only being a single Heaven Saint Master at the Imperial Palace and the other people strewn about without power, there was no way for the Jessen Kingdom to call on enough strength in such a short amount of time to withstand the 10 Heaven Saint Masters from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. You speak correctly. There has been nothing of any importance that our kingdom found to fear from your kingdom. Another red-wearing middle-aged man spoke with a look of disdain. Yi Ming gave a snort. As a single person, he was not afraid of the 10 in front of him. Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, if you don't wish to bring trouble upon your own head, you would do best to retreat. If not, then the Qinhuang Kingdom will not let this matter slide. Do you not understand the connection our two kingdoms have with each other? Pa, you bluff. Don't even bother trying to convince us that your Jessen Kingdom and the Qinhuang Kingdom have some sort of secret connection. We aren't 3-year-old children, we cannot be fooled that easily. An elder laughed. They had heard from the king of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom that there was no connection or friendship between the two kingdoms, so they weren't afraid of the power that the Qinhuang Kingdom held. Hurry up and call out the king and his daughter. Otherwise, your Jessen Kingdom's palace will be razed to the ground this very day. A suntanned elder spoke dangerously with eyes that seemed as if they could shoot lightning. By now, the Imperial Palace had already gathered 1,000 of the finest black armor soldiers. However, when they saw the 10 Heaven Saint Masters from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, they were stunned. A Heaven Saint Master was an entity that stood at the very top of the world. They weren't enemies that any one of the black armors could contend against. Despite having over 1,000 black armors, they were completely powerless in the face of these Heaven Saint Masters. By now, the king had finally appeared with several of the strongest black armors from the garden. Upon seeing the 10 floating Heaven Saint Masters, the king had a look of utmost concentration. However, his forward pace hadn't stopped for a moment and continued to walk with his head held high. One of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom noticed the king straight away and began to whisper to his comrades, "Take a look, that's the king of the Jessen Kingdom." The 10 Heaven Saint Masters from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom began to look at the king. Then, one of them nodded, "That should be him, let this old man take him." Then, that very same person flew down to the king. "Don't think you will get away with this." Yi Ming roared as he moved to block the elder. Without hesitation, he brought out his saint weapon and sent a furious slash of energy toward the incoming elder. With the icy glare of his own, the elder took out his own saint weapon to block Yi Ming. A battle to be won is a battle that is over quickly. By Lai, let us too help Elder Mo. Another elder immediately brought out his saint weapon to attack Yi Ming. The elder he had been talking to nodded his head and immediately entered the fray, making it a 3-on-1 battle. The strength of the 3 Heaven Saint Masters were by no means weaker than Yi Ming. One of the 3 had actually been a step higher than Yi Ming in strength. With it being 1 against 3, the pressure on Yi Ming was abnormally high. With 3 people focusing on him, it was very hard to dodge or even retaliate. After all, he was not on the same level of those from the Qinhuang Kingdom or Chang Wuji from the Jessen Kingdom. The four men continued to battle passionately. Each strike of their saint weapons led to a large amount of energy sloughing off of their weapons. It sounded like lightning striking from the 9th layer of the heavens. The large amount of energy was enough for the palace walls to be battered again and again, inflicting several serious blows to them. The imperial palace had already been thrown into disarray from all of this. With over 1,000 of the finest soldiers running amok, they seemed as if the sky above them was sending down a disaster. "Your Highness, please get away from here." The black armors guarding the king immediately gauged that the situation wasn't clearing up and immediately called for the king to escape into the palace depths. They all knew that against 10 heaven saint masters, there was no way for them to stop them. The only solution here was to flee. One of the men from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom instantly noticed the black armors running away with the king. With a sneer, he spoke, "Pa, where do you think you're going? Do you take us as wall decorations and someone to ignore as you run away?" As he spoke, a strong amount of earth-attributed saint force wrapped around his body and trailed behind him as he sped toward the king. One of the black armors grew startled and cried out, "They're chasing us. Take His Majesty and escape from here, I'll hold them off." "Yes, Captain." "Take care of yourself, Captain." Several black armors called out with serious faces. Their forward movement toward the palace hadn't stopped for a moment as they continued to escort the king with haste toward the imperial palace through a hidden passageway. The captain of the black armors brought out a brilliantly silver machete and swung it toward the incoming Heaven Saint Master with a large shout. Unless he was a 6th cycle Earth Saint Master, using a Heaven Tier battle skill would not be effective against a Heaven Saint Master. So when the Heaven Saint Master's battle skill struck Bai Dao's own, the Heaven Tier battle skill was instantly dissipated and the Earth Tier battle skill struck Bai Dao in the chest. He immediately spat out a mouthful of blood and flew 100 meters back toward the palace, landing on the ground. Chapter 471, The King has been captured. The Heaven Saint Masters flew toward Bai Dao, flying through the broken palace walls. Then, several of them carried out the heavily injured Bai Dao. The 10 Heaven Saint Masters stared heavily at Bai Dao with undisguised eyes of avaricious greed before one of them began to breath heavily. "Hurry, take his space ring out to see if there's the Heaven Tier battle skill." The allure of such a battle skill was so much that all 10 of them had briefly forgotten about their mission. Immediately, someone impatiently searched Bai Dao's space ring before rifling through the inner contents of it. After a while, he shook his head with a disappointed look. "No good, the Heaven Tier battle skill isn't in this space ring." "Let me take a look." One man was unwilling to give up. After looking through the space ring for himself, he finally revealed a similar expression to the first man and spoke in disappointment, "There really isn't one in here." Afterward, everyone tried their hand at searching the space ring. There was indeed no Heaven Tier battle skill, an Earth Tier battle skill couldn't even be found within it. "Let's take him back with us, we can interrogate him for it later." A crane-haired elder spoke slowly. "No matter what methods we use, we must obtain this battle skill, even if he has to write it out completely for us." A middle-aged man gave his input coldly. "If we are able to obtain that Heaven Tier battle skill, then our strength will definitely increase by another level." A rather frail-looking person said. The look in his eyes showed an invigorating excitement. Each of the other Heaven Saint Masters had an excited smile on their faces as well. When it came to Heaven Tier battle skills, their mouths drooled at the thought of having one. Unless one had some sort of mysteriously strong background support, then even a Heaven Saint Master would find it difficult to have even a single Heaven Tier battle skill. Among the 10 of them, not a single one had a Heaven Tier battle skill. At the most, the strongest one had an advanced Earth Tier battle skill. "Crap, the captain has been captured." From not too far away, one of the black armors in charge of protecting the king cried out in shock. "There's no use crying about it, we must protect His Majesty." The other black armor's soldier whispered harshly to him as he escorted the king further into the palace. Bai Dao is Changyang Xiangtian's uncle, there's no way we could allow anything to happen to him. Otherwise, just how would I be able to face him? The king struggled fiercely against his guards, but with his strength, it was useless for him to try. The black armors held onto the king and picked up their pace in a hurry. A single soldier with a black helmet covering his visage spoke in a worried voice, "Your Highness, we are up against 10 strong experts with a force we cannot hope to defend against. To go against them is to go to our deaths. We should first prioritize your life so that we can plan to rescue the captain in the future." AI. The king sighed with a downtrodden expression. The actions of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom had caught the Jesson Kingdom completely unprepared. Suddenly, the black armors running in front of them came to a grinding stop as they stared at the area in front of them with a strong concentration. A single middle-aged man could be seen floating 5 meters up in the air as he sneered at them. This was one of the 10 Heaven Saint Masters of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. "With so many of us coming on this mission, if we were to let you escape from right under our nose, just what face would we have when we return?" The middle-aged man spoke calmly, but there was a look of disdain that could be seen in his eyes. The black armors slowly circled around the king and drew out their saint weapons. "On our lives, we will protect His Majesty." There was no dread to be seen in their eyes. Almost as if they gave no regards about their own lives, they charged at the Heaven Saint Masters. The middle-aged man's eyes hardened as he spoke, "A group of ants you are, and yet you still act so impudent." With a sudden push of his palms, an abundant amount of energy from the world exploded violently toward the black armors. Bang! 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 After a series of loud bangs, the black armors seemed as if they were struck by gigantic rocks. Each one spat out a large mouthful of blood and flew back through the air. The black armor they wore had already begun to splinter and crack in several different areas. Losing the several bodyguards he had, the king had finally started to feel a little alone. However, his face didn't reveal any fear. Instead, his eyes glared dangerously at the expert from the Heaven Saint Master. "Your Heavenly Eagle Kingdom will pay a heavy price for your actions today. Do you not know just who the captain of the black armors are? He is the uncle of the Qinhuang Kingdom's imperial protector." "What? The uncle of the imperial protector of the Qinhuang Kingdom? Ha 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 ha." The words of the king had caused the middle-aged man to burst into laughter before looking at the king as if he was an idiot. "My dear king of the Jesson Kingdom, you are the ruler of the kingdom, but even you still speak such childish lies? Think about what identity the imperial protector of the Qinhuang Kingdom has. Would his uncle be a lowly bodyguard for a lowly king in a lowly kingdom like the Jesson Kingdom? You will regret this sooner or later." The king spoke coldly. He knew that this revelation was surprising. He didn't wish to expend any energy explaining if there would be no one to believe him. The middle-aged man slowly walked up to the king's side and put on a fake smile. "Your Majesty, we only wish to invite you as a guest for our Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. At the same time, we would like to extend this invitation to your daughter and Changyang Xiangtian. You may as well call them out instead of waiting for us to do the retrieving. If we were to take a move, then that would not do well for you." Hearing this, the king's eyes flashed with an almost undetectable amount of light. Sneering, he spoke, "My daughter and Changyang Xiangtian are no longer within the imperial palace. By now, they've already returned to the Changyang Manor in Lore City. If you are truly courageous, then go capture them at their manor." By now, the Jesson Kingdom had only the Changyang clan as a force that could contend against the 10 Heaven Saint Masters. Because of his knowledge, the king knew in his heart that the Changyang clan had 7 Heaven Saint Masters watching over it at the moment. Aside from Changyang Xiangtian and Chang Wuji, whose strength were nearly incomparable, the 5 imperial advisors from the Qinhuang Kingdom were fully capable of fighting 1 against 2. Right now both he and Bai Dao were captured. Whether or not they could escape would rely completely on the Changyang clan. The Changyang clan. The middle-aged man let out a snort and a flash of cold light appeared in his eyes. Smiling sinisterly, he said, we were just on our way to trample the Changyang clan. That makes things convenient. Your Royal Highness, we will be leaving now then. With a single hand, the man carried the king by his clothes and immediately joined with the other 9 Heaven Saint Masters. My friends, I've captured the king of the Jessan kingdom. The man brought the king right in front of them and laughed. Where is the princess and Changyang Xiangtian? Those 2 people must be brought back as well. We cannot be missing anyone. An elder said. The middle-aged man laughed. The princess and Changyang Xiangtian weren't at the palace. Right now they're at the Changyang clan. It's fortunate that that location was already one of our target locations. There's no time to lose. Let us set off for the manor straight away. However, we must be careful around that Changyang Xiangtian. I've heard Georgian say that he wields a strange and powerful energy that can damage our saint weapons. A red-robed elder spoke from behind with a suspicious expression. There's no need to worry. I don't believe that he would be able to defend himself against all of us. With so many people, he'll be too overwhelmed to do anything. Afterward, the 10 Heaven Saint Masters brought the king and Bai Dao into the sky, leaving thousands of the black armors and the heavily injured Yi Ming to watch in agony as the group of now 12 flew away. News of the king's kidnapping spread far, and soon enough, the entire palace and city had gone into an uproar. Chapter 472, Kicking an iron panel within the Changyang Manor in Lore City, Changyang Ba and Chang Wuji were conversing with the 5 imperial advisors from the Qinhuang Kingdom in a luxurious-looking room. Jian Chen had left several days ago, giving Changyang Ba the time to chat with the 5 imperial advisors in an attempt to pull them closer together. Honored 5 imperial advisors, if living here for the past few days has not been to your liking, or if there is something not satisfactory, then please speak up and we will definitely strive to improve. Changyang Ba spoke with a laugh. Although his own son was the imperial protector of the Qinhuang Kingdom, making the 5 imperial advisors his subordinates, Changyang Ba did not wish to treat them impolitely. After all, they were still Heaven Saint Masters in the end. Our host has been far too polite. We 5 have been very comfortable these past few days. Xiao Tian smiled. Because he was the strongest among the 5 and was exceptionally talented in his own right, he had become the substitute leader while Jian Chen was away. During their talks, they did not treat Changyang Ba as if he was lower than them despite his strength as an Earth Saint Master. On the contrary, the 5 of them had treated him with all the respect they could. It was almost as if they feared angering him so that they seemed more like equals. The reason for this, however, was due to his exceptional son. While the men were joyously chatting together, Chang Wuji's expression suddenly slipped before standing up with a serious expression. Cupping his hands, he spoke, "Honored imperial advisors, my leader, this slave has an urgent matter to attend to." Chang Wuji, where are you going in such a hurry? Changyang Ba laughed as he looked to Chang Wuji with an eye that regarded him highly. Chang Wuji, if you have need for us, then please just instruct us to do so. Xiao Tian laughed as his own eyes secretly looked to the sky outside the room. Chang Wuji uttered a single word of thanks before leaving the room. Standing outside, Chang Wuji's face grew solemn as he flew into the sky. The light in his eyes twinkled with some confusion before his own body flew higher and higher into the sky above the Changyang Manor. A Heaven Saint Master could fly at high speeds. After rushing from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, the 10 Heaven Saint Masters, Bai Dao, and the King of the Jessan Kingdom were already a few several thousand meters away from Lore City. By now, they were on a perfectly straight route for Changyang Manor. A frail-looking man looked at the map in his hands. Changyang Manor is right in front of us. He spoke. This time our target is the Changyang clan. They are a minor clan, so let us just annihilate their clan to allow them to know the consequences of offending our Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. A crane-haired elder spoke. He was a member of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom's royal family, so he knew of the finer details of the entire matter more than the others. To completely destroy the Changyang clan was what the king of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom had wanted. Hearing this, the king of the Jessen kingdom had a look of contempt on his face as he was carried by a middle-aged man. In his heart, he thought, Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, this time you've truly stirred the hornet's nest. No one can save you now. The 10 Heaven Saint Masters quickly arrived right in front of the Changyang clan, but Chang Wuji could be seen staring at them with both his hands folded against his chest. The men from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom had come without disguising their power at all. The very moment they had entered the vicinity of Lore City, Xiao Tian and Chang Wuji had both sensed their presence. Chang Wuji stared grimly at the 10 experts before his eyes fell upon the king of the Jessen kingdom and the still unconscious Bai Dao. With a startled composure, he cried out, Your Majesty! You must be the strongest of the Changyang clan, Chang Wuji. The crane-haired elder spoke with cold eyes and an equally cold voice. With both the king of the Jessen kingdom and Bai Dao captured, Chang Wuji didn't need to think to know that these 10 were enemies and not friends. Who are you? Chang Wuji spoke with a dangerous voice. We are from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. Chang Wuji, have Changyang Xiangtian get out here right now. After offending our Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, he cannot leave from here in peace. The crane-haired elder spoke with a tone that seemed to grow even icier with each word. Chang Wuji's eyes flashed dangerously as a spike of energy began to burst from his body. Glowering at the group in front of him, he spoke, You from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, to dare speak of the fourth master so disrespectfully, did you wish to die so soon? To speak to us in such a manner, you'll die for this. The same elder's face twisted in anger before charging straight for Chang Wuji with his saint weapon out. Chang Wuji let out an unfearing snort before preparing himself for battle. His own saint weapon appeared in his hand, and at the same time, a surge of saint force began to billow out from within his body in an amount that seemed to exceed his own strength. The waves of energy were so strong that they could be seen rippling through the space around them. For the sake of deterrence, Chang Wuji had immediately used the Heaven's stolen fortune to multiply his fighting strength of a 5th cycle Heaven Saint Master by threefold. With this, he had already exceeded the strength of a peak 6th cycle Heaven Saint Master, and if he couldn't split the heavens with a single blow, then he would surely be able to split the mountains and earth. Bang! The two saint weapons collided with a resounding crash. The elder from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom let out a muffled sound as blood splurted from his lips before he was forced to fly away from Chang Wuji. With a single exchange, Chang Wuji had defeated a 2nd cycle Heaven Saint Master. Such a strength like this shocked the other 9 Heaven Saint Masters from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. While they did their research on the Changyang clan earlier and knew of Chang Wuji's strength, they didn't know that he would be that terrifyingly strong. The reason why Chang Wuji had been able to kill any Heaven Saint Masters in the Battle of the Four Kingdoms against the Jessen Kingdom was due to him borrowing the power of a Heaven-tier battle skill. But now, Chang Wuji had been able to injure a 2nd cycle Heaven Saint Master in a single blow. This type of strength had far exceeded any of their expectations. Beneath, the entire Changyang manor had been sent into disarray when a large amount of killing intent had flooded the area. But when they all looked up to see the 11 Heaven Saint Masters, their faces instantly slackened and instantly found it hard to swallow their saliva due to their mouths dropping open. Unhand His Majesty and Bai Dao straight away or face the consequences. Chang Wuji didn't continue to attack and instead stared heavily at the men in front of him. With both the king and Bai Dao captured, Chang Wuji wasn't able to fully attack without fear of hurting the two as a result. Be at ease, Chang Wuji. While I admit that your strength is beyond any one of us in a 1-against-1 match, but you are only just one man. Combined with Changyang Xiangtian, there is only 2 Heaven Saint Masters within the Changyang clan. Compared to the 10 of us, do you think the 2 of you have a chance? An elder reasoned. Chang Wuji gave a cold smile, You underestimate our Changyang clan. Now, release the 2 immediately, we've still time to talk about this. Otherwise, the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom will become the enemy of our Jessen Kingdom. Your annihilation will be in due time by then. Ha ha ha, what a great joke you know how to spin. Your Jessen Kingdom has no way of destroying our Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. The crane-haired elder laughed in disdain. At that moment, the one that flew at Chang Wuji had flown back up. His face was pale, and a hint of fear could be seen in the lights of his eyes. A man wearing a bright red robe with equally red hair spoke, "They are all dead men walking, why waste words and time on them? Have some people deal with Chang Wuji, 2 others will go search for Changyang Xiangtian. What a coward for life he is if he doesn't dare to come out." The red-haired elder was a 4th cycle Heaven Saint Master and also the strongest of the group. Within the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, many had already seen him as their leader for the mission. That works. Leader Zhou, Patriarch Huang, Elder Mu Bai, and Elder Ping Yun. The 5 of us will face off against Chang Wuji then. The frail elder laughed. The 5 of them were 3rd cycle Heaven Saint Masters. With their powers combined, then they would be able to give a 6th cycle Heaven Saint Master a headache. The 5 elders took a stride forward in midair at the same time. Smiling, one of them spoke, "I've heard Chang Wuji has a heaven-tier battle skill. We've benefited greatly from the Jessen Kingdom it seems." At this, the other 4 men began to talk among themselves for a moment before quickly engaging Chang Wuji into a brawl. "Father!" Suddenly, a frantic cry could be heard from below only for everyone to see Princess Yu Yu and Bai Yuntian standing beneath them. Their faces had a terrified look as they saw the king within the hands of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. Yu Yu's lovely face had already turned pale as she feared what might happen to her father. Seeing his own daughter beneath him, the king's face quavered for a moment before shouting, "Yue, run away. Run away now." A battle between Heaven Saint Masters could easily injure a large multitude of people, so the king was worried about the potential damage that could occur to her. The father and daughter conversation allowed the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom to confirm that she was the princess. Straight away, 2 men flew down to the ground to capture her. She was one of the 2 capture targets. Suddenly, before they could even touch the ground, a strange development had occurred as 5 figures suddenly flew in at tremendous speeds. A boundless amount of energy could be felt radiating from their bodies with an overwhelming amount of pressure. "What?" The 2 Heaven Saint Masters cried out in surprise. They never would have expected that the Changyang clan would have 5 hidden Heaven Saint Masters. Furthermore, these 5 Heaven Saint Masters were no weaker than them, 3 of them were already far stronger than any of them. The 5 Heaven Saint Masters from the Qinhuang Kingdom had finally revealed themselves. The 5 imperial advisors hadn't given the 2 men from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom any time to react. The 5 of them instantly drew close to the enemy, and together, they quickly delivered multiple blows to the 2, causing them to fly back with blood coming out from their mouths. "What? The Changyang clan still has 5 Heaven Saint Masters? How is that possible, since when did the Changyang clan gain so many? Could all of the experts of the Jessen Kingdom be gathered within Changyang Manor?" The entire Heavenly Eagle Kingdom was startled since this had been far beyond their expectations. None of them had thought for a single moment that the Changyang clan would have any hidden experts, especially people with the same amount of strength that these 5 Heaven Saint Masters were exuding. This led the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom to feel especially grim, since this new group seemed as if a 3rd cycle Heaven Saint Master was the weakest among their group, and even he wasn't any weaker than Chang Wuji. The Heavenly Eagle Kingdom were now all looking extremely grim. At this moment, the entire group finally thought that they had tried to kick through an iron panel. Chapter 473, Calamity at the Changyang clan. Rushing forward, the 5 imperial advisors quickly rushed toward the 2 Heaven Saint Masters. Without hesitation, they charged straight for the other 3 after dealing with the 2. How disgraceful! Who was in charge of scouting for information? How does the Changyang clan have so many experts? The 5 men fighting Chang Wuji had instantly taken note of what happened below. 3 of them broke away from the fight to fly toward the 5 newcomers while the remaining 2 continued to fight Chang Wuji. None of the 5 imperial advisors spoke a word and instead clashed fiercely with the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. Among the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, their strongest Heaven Saint Master was the red-haired elder who was currently facing off against Xiao Tian while the others faced off against another. The middle-aged man with the king of the Jessan Kingdom handed him over to the other man next to him before saying, "I'll leave the king to you. Look over him while I go lend a hand." The other man took the king and shifted the still unconscious Bai Dao over to his right hand. "Be careful." The first middle-aged man gave a serious nod before taking out his saint weapon to enter the battle. There were a total of 10 Heaven Saint Masters involved in battle now. The battle over the Changyang clan would be a strong one. The red-haired fourth cycle Heaven Saint Master continued to exchange several rounds of attacks with Xiao Tian. When the moment came for Xiao Tian to land a single blow on the man's chest, he spat out some blood and the color in his face drained away. Xiao Tian was a fifth cycle Heaven Saint Master and an imperial advisor for the Qinhuang Kingdom. His battle strength far exceeded any other fifth cycle Heaven Saint Master, and it could even be said to be comparable to a sixth cycle Heaven Saint Master. Thus, there was an extremely noticeable difference between the Heaven Saint Master from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom and him. Upon seeing Xiao Tian's strength, the red-haired man had an extremely serious look on his face before he spoke. "The Jessan Kingdom can't possibly have an expert like you. You aren't from around this kingdom, so who are you?" Xiao Tian didn't bother to reply and instead brought his saint weapon toward the red-haired elder with a powerful stroke. In a flash, the red-haired man had no other choice but to block the strike with his own weapon. "Come help me." Stuck in such a precarious situation, the red-haired elder no longer cared for his pride and cried out for assistance. Hearing the red-haired man cry out for help, the other two men turned pale in the face. Their mouths still dripping with blood, they immediately joined in on the fight so that they could fight 3-on-1 against Xiao Tian. These two men had first been responsible for capturing the princess, but they had been immediately wounded by the appearance of the imperial advisors. After they were injured by the five, their strengths were at best 70% of their maximum fighting capacity. Even with them uniting with the red-haired man, they were incapable of defeating Xiao Tian. At most, they would only be able to keep up some sort of balance with difficulty. So another 3 Heaven Saint Masters had stopped their attack on Chang Wuji to fight Xiao Tian. His strength wasn't that far away from Xiao Tian's, and after several exchanges, he had already begun to regain the advantage despite being set back earlier, giving the men he was fighting no time to retaliate. There were 10 Heaven Saint Masters from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. One of them held both the king and Bai Dao as prisoner while the other 9 were locked in close combat. Among those 9, Xiao Tian was fighting 3, Chang Wuji was now fighting 2, and the both of them were winning. The remaining 4 were now locked in close combat with the remaining 4 imperial advisors. Qing Xiaofan, Deng Yijunbai, Chao Kachin, and Tian Luo were 3rd and 4th cycle Heaven Saint Masters. Their strength could compare to Heaven Saint Masters a cycle ahead of them, and combined with their dominating battle strength, they were fully capable of completely suppressing the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom men. Those of the same level of strength would find it a very challenging task to defeat one another in a one-on-one battle. However, the Qinhuang Kingdom was known as one of the 8 great powers. A title that was second only to the 3 great empires on the Tian-Yuan continent. To become an imperial advisor, the best of the best had to be chosen. With 15 Heaven Saint Masters doing battle, the fight was a sight to behold. Each exchange and each collision created a tremendous blast with sounds that could be heard from far away. The entire Lore City by this point had ceased its actions, so every person could stare in the direction of the Changyang clan in confusion. Even the mercenaries who were eating in a nearby restaurant ran out into the streets or toward the upper levels of the restaurant in order to survey the scene or to discuss with each other. What happened? Why is there such a tremendous sound now? The sounds are coming from the Changyang clan. Is there something happening over at their manor? The sounds created from the Heaven Saint Masters' battle were tremendous to the point where the entire Lore City could hear them. Despite the distance separating the clan and the city, the sounds of battle could be felt by many of the experts. Within the courtyard belonging to a mercenary group, a single robust-looking man quickly walked out from his room as he turned to the sky. What has happened for the world energy to be in such a flux? Could there be several Heaven Saint Masters fighting nearby? Within the courtyards of the other 3 clans in Lore City, several Earth Saint Master experts had already gathered and stared at the sky in astonishment. The energy of the world had been sent in such a heavy turmoil that even an Earth Saint Master could feel the vibrations. The amount of powerful energy felt in the world was enough to cause any one of them to jump in fright. The fallout that came with this current battle was far more destructive than the fallout that would happen when any regular Heaven Saint Master fought with each other. The flux of world energy is coming from the direction of the Changyang clan. Is there a war going on over there? The Changyang clan has the only Heaven Saint Masters in Lore City. What could possibly be happening over there? The men from the 3 clans began to converse with other Earth Saint Masters in an attempt to guess what was happening. Each one of them was extremely curious and immediately set out in a rush toward the Changyang clan. Even the city lord of Lore City was startled. With several Earth Saint Masters, he immediately set out on a magical beast's back toward the Changyang manor. By now, all of the Earth Saint Masters in Lore City had already guessed several Heaven Saint Masters were partaking in some sort of large battle. They had put a pause to whatever they had initially been doing to run toward the source of the sounds. No matter what was happening at the Changyang clan, a battle between Heaven Saint Masters was not something to miss. It was an opportunity for them. There was a chance that one of them would be able to comprehend the mysteries of the world wielded by one of the Heaven Saint Masters and make the breakthrough to become a Heaven Saint Master as well. The entire Changyang manor had been sent into an uproar already. With over 10 Heaven Saint Masters doing battle, everyone there felt as if they were suffering from a large headache. The entire compound had been sent into disorder with the guards and servants scuttling around. Some of the unluckier men had even been struck by the ripples of energy, killing them violently. Within several moments, there was not a single intact room left within the entire compound. Every single building had received damage equivalent to the entire compound collapsing. Even the pavilion where all the manuals were stored had collapsed, and the 10-meter-tall towers had fallen to pieces as well. Several of the servants who were inside the buildings when they collapsed could be heard screaming out in agony. "My lord, please escape right away." Several bodyguards loyal to Changyang Ba could be heard right by his side in an attempt to lead him away from the danger. "Madam, please run away." Several other bodyguards were trying to lead the fear-stricken Ling Long away as well. A single burst of fire shot down from the air and made contact with the buildings. With that spark, the entire compound was lit aflame instantly. "Ahu, Ahu! Save my Ahu quickly, he's still in his room." Ling Long immediately bawled as she ran over to one of the combusted rooms. "Protect the madam, I'll save the young master." One of the captain guards cried out before plunging into the burning room before Changyang Ba could speak. "Quick, escort the second lady into the cellar." The guards then ushered the startled Yu Fengyan down toward the area with the cellars. At the same time, Bai Yuntian was escorted by her own bodyguards toward the same area. "Fourth lady, it's dangerous outside, please get into the cellar." A guard spoke anxiously, but as he spoke, several rays of sword chi could be seen shooting down from the sky, piercing holes into the ground. Suddenly, the expression on the guard's face froze as blood flowed down his head before he ultimately fell to the ground. "Captain, Captain! What happened?" The guard escorting Bai Yuntian cried out in anguish before running to where his captain lay on the ground. "There's no time to delay, quickly escort the fourth lady down." The other guards spoke through their agony and used their own bodies to protect Bai Yuntian as they brought into the protected area. At this moment, another torrent of energy continued to wreak havoc from the sky above. The roof to one of the buildings on the side of Bai Yuntian had begun to lift from the ground and into the direction of Bai Yuntian, causing the guards around her to grow startled. Just at that moment, a cyan glow shot into the scene. The white-robed Ming Dong came into view. With a chop of his sword chi, he split the falling building in two, eliminating the danger. Ming Dong looked to the energy storm above them and turned his head back to look at Bai Yuntian with a solemn look. I'll lead the way, Dugu Feng, Aunt Bai's safety will be up to you. Protect Auntie well. If something happens to her, how would we ever face Jian Chen? Dugu Feng stood nearby with a vigilant expression. I will do my best, but a battle of Heaven Saint Masters is far too much for even us. With all that energy being thrown about, even the two of us will have to be extremely careful. Please make sure to look after me as well. Understood. Please go with them towards the safe area. You should be able to escape from there. Ming Dong immediately began to spearhead a route while Dugu Feng ran to escort and protect Bai Yuntian from any external dangers. Chapter 474. Asari escape. With Ming Dong and Dugu Feng acting as two Earth Saint Master bodyguards, Bai Yuntian's safety was at its highest point. The princess was extremely safe right by her side. At that moment, another large wave of energy shot down from the sky. Soon the entire ground was filled with several holes from explosions that sent large pieces of rubble toward Ming Dong and the others. Careful! Ming Dong cried out as he ran to protect Bai Yuntian and the princess. The sword in his hand danced as he moved to bring down the stone in front of him. Dugu Feng himself wielded a giant sword that seemed to dance with flames right by his side. Despite their strengths, there were far too many stones for them to fend off. With the waves of explosion that happened every so often, a finger-sized stone finally broke through their defensive net. With a whistling sound, it shot straight for Bai Yuntian before ultimately leaving behind a small cut that allowed blood to show. Ah! A pained cry came from behind Bai Yuntian. Turning around, she could see that the princess was clutching her left shoulder where blood was flowing freely, staining her clothes with a red tint. Are you all right? Bai Yuntian ignored her own wound and quickly looked back to the pain-stricken Yu. I am fine. Yu spoke, but her pained expression was proof enough that she was enduring a large amount of pain. Seeing Bai Yuntian and Yu sustain an injury, Dugu Feng and Ming Dong both let show a startled expression. God damn it! Ming Dong cursed. The battle is getting far too rowdy. We can't delay any longer. Hurry into the cellar. Soon after, everyone quickened their pace. The battle in the sky grew more and more intense. While the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom held an advantage with numbers, their strength was beneath the Qinhuang Kingdom's Heaven Saint Master. Thus, the 9 Heaven Saint Masters were completely suppressed by the 6 Heaven Saint Masters to the point where they weren't even able to fight back, forcing them to rely on just their battle skills. All sorts of advanced Earth-tier battle skills continued to be thrown about from each of the 9 Heaven Saint Masters. Whenever they made contact with the individuals from the Changyang clan, they would explode with a terrifyingly huge amount of energy that would distort the space around them. With the intensity of the energy, the space seemed like it would split itself apart. Although there was a very noticeable difference between a Heaven-tier battle skill and an Earth-tier battle skill in terms of power, when a Heaven Saint Master used an Earth-tier battle skill, the power from it should not be underestimated, especially when 9 Heaven Saint Masters used one at the same time. The amount of power that would overlap each other was tantamount to several Heaven-tier battle skills clashing and could shatter the firmaments of the heavens. Ah! Suddenly, a cry of agony could be heard, piercing cleanly through the exploding sounds of battle. Turning to look, everyone could see the Heaven Saint Master that was fighting Chang Wuji had his right hand chopped off. The arm flopped to the ground while blood sprayed out of the stump like rain. Chang Wuji's eyes had a thirst for blood in them as he stepped forward without letting the man escape him. With a thundering clap of sound, his sword stabbed straight through the man's chest. Elder Ping Yun. The other man fighting Chang Wuji cried out in shock. Charging forward, he attempted to stab Chang Wuji through the chest as well. With an ice-cold expression, Chang Wuji pulled his sword out from the man's chest and swung his sword with all his might toward the incoming enemy. By himself, how could a third cycle Heaven Saint Master be a match for Chang Wuji? With a single thrust of his sword, Chang Wuji repelled the man. Chang Wuji's face was especially gloomy and a fury radiated from his eyes. There was no way he didn't know what was happening down below him, but with the two men he was fighting annoying him to death, there had been no way for him to go down to save anyone. Chang Wuji's gaze locked onto the chest of the man he had stabbed. With a single step, he flew toward him, and with his sword hand falling downward, he moved to lop off the man's head. Although using a heaven-tier battle skill would easily kill his opponent, it would also require a large amount of saint force. Not only that, but the Changyang clan down below would be hit with the fallout. A heaven-tier battle skill would decimate the entire manor. Seeing the sword falling down at a tremendous speed, the man's face fell with shock. First he had lost his right arm, then he had a hole straight through his chest. The two of these wounds had already brought forth a tremendous amount of damage. He wouldn't even have enough energy to defend himself against another strike, so he opted to fall toward the ground. With a sneer, Chang Wuji's sword tip shot forth 10 meters in an instant. Quickly, the sword came down with an executing slash that bisected the man's head, killing his soul. Thus, the very first individual from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom was killed by Chang Wuji. Elder Ping Yun. A grief-filled voice called out from the man who had been sent flying back from Chang Wuji's earlier blow. Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. Today I will ensure that you pay a heavy price for your actions. Chang Wuji exclaimed as he brought his sword flying toward the other man with a swift motion. After seeing Chang Wuji kill someone, the other 5 Heaven Saint Masters from the Qinhuang Kingdom grew excited. Their movements grew quicker and, in the span of several seconds, the enemy side gained new wounds. Blood spilled from their mouths as their momentum fell like an arrow at the end of its flight. Bang! Suddenly, a splurt of blood could be seen falling through the sky. Xiao Tian's hand had rammed straight into one of the Heaven Saint Master's head, pulverizing it into a bloody mess. Thus, the second Heaven Saint Master from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom had fallen. We can't win, retreat. After having 2 of their own killed, the remaining few members felt as if they were dealt a tremendous blow. One of the members immediately cried out for the others to give up the fight and to escape. If I let you run away, Qing Shaoshan would have no face to return back home. Qing Shaoshan sneered. With the wind element enveloping his body, he quickly streamed for one of the escaping fighters. The Heavenly Eagle Kingdom men were dominated completely. Although they were able to hold on to their lives, they wouldn't be able to do so for long. Everyone from their group knew when they were over their heads and no longer had the bravado from earlier. Seeing someone else try to run, the others had been hasty not to fall behind and ran away one by one. After a short battle, 2 of the 9 had fallen and the remaining 7 had been severely injured. On the other side, no one had taken any heavy injuries and still had energy to spare. Unlike them, the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom's men barely had any energy left to escape. It won't be that easy to get away. All 5 of the Imperial advisors gave chase with Xiao Tian leading the group while Chang Wuji stayed behind to check on the Changyang clan down below. Experts from all over had rushed to this location the moment they heard a battle taking place at the Changyang clan. They began to observe the intense battle from far away with absolute shock. In the golden age of the Jessen Kingdom, they had no more than 10 Heaven Saint Masters. With Chang Wuji now as the 11th, they were at a number that was greater than the amount of Heaven Saint Masters in their golden age. As for the Changyang clan, their entire compound had been laid to waste. Every building had collapsed into rubbish, and the bodies of guards and servants could be seen strewn about. Although the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom men had fled, the battle had not yet stopped. The 5 imperial advisors from the Qinhuang Kingdom continued to surprise everyone by chasing the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom men with no mercy. Qing Shaoshan possessed the wind-attributed saint force and could use the wind element to increase his speed to become the fastest among the group. In a flash, he was able to catch up to his adversary and began to unleash his full strength. Easily throwing out an advanced Earth-tier battle skill, he chopped off the head of one of the already injured men. The man didn't instantly die from the blow and had hurriedly grabbed at his head before attempting to escape. Killing a Heaven Saint Master would require vanquishing the soul. However, this man who had his head chopped off was weakened. Without any energy to fight, he was ultimately slower than the rest. In an instant, Qing Shaoshan caught him and bisected the head in two. From the 10 Heaven Saint Masters from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, in the end, only 6 of them had been able to escape. Chapter 475, The Return of a King. There was not an intact building to be seen throughout the entire compound. It was a complete wreck as far as the eyes could see, with every building collapsed. The corpses of multiple servants and guards could be seen strewn across the grounds. The last expression on their faces had been of anguish. The tragic day that was today would be an unforgettable day for the Changyang clan. The energy from the 10 Heaven Saint Masters had killed many lives and caused an immeasurable amount of damage. Many more people had been severely injured and left the Changyang clan in a depressed state. Chang Wuji trod across the broken courtyards with a heavy expression. It was not as heavy as it was during the battle, and he couldn't help but let out a sigh in relief in his heart. Despite the heavy damages the Changyang clan had incurred, the important figures of the clan hadn't been killed. Some had been injured, but nothing major had happened to them. Chang Wuji walked to the center of the compound and looked all around. With one final sigh, his face descended into grief. The 5 imperial advisors from the Qinhuang kingdom descended next to Chang Wuji. Xiao Tian was the first to speak. Chang Wuji, how is the clan leader and the 4th lady, are they injured? The 5 imperial advisors were most concerned with Changyang Ba and Bai Yuntian, since they were the parents of the imperial protector. Chang Wuji shook his head. I thank the imperial advisors for their concern. They both have some minor injuries, nothing too major. Hearing this, the 5 imperial advisors couldn't help but let out a breath in relief. If one of the two had something happen to them in that short moment, they had no idea how they would be able to face the imperial protector. The secret that the 5 imperial advisors were living within the Changyang clan had been exposed. Everyone that was familiar with what they looked like was extremely astonished the moment they saw the 5 Heaven Saint Masters retreat into the clan compound. Straight away, discussions could be heard among those people. No one could imagine that the Changyang clan would have so many Heaven Saint Master experts hidden within. Such a strength was far too much. Ha! Senior. Chang Wuji, how is your? The king coughed out some blood from his internal injuries while struggling to speak. Your Majesty, please be rest assured. The princess has received no major injuries. Chang Wuji replied. That's fine, all is fine then. The heart that had leaped into the king's throat had finally fallen back down. Yuera was his most beloved daughter, and thus he was without a doubt concerned for her safety. Afterward, the representatives of the 3 other clans of Lore City came by personally to express their sympathies to the Changyang clan. In his recent return, he had no idea just what could possibly happen for the Changyang clan to undergo such a tremendous transformation. Chang Wuji let out a long breath of air. 4th Master, 10 Heaven Saint Masters from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom had only just came by with Bai Dao and His Majesty in their grasps. They had spoken some claptrap about capturing you, but after a battle between them and us, the Changyang clan was inadvertently damaged by the fallout. Hearing this, a sudden explosion of killing intent burst from Jian Chen's body. A fierce glare started to grow brighter and brighter, almost as if he was a bloodthirsty tiger whose stare could cause any person to shiver in fear. The temperature within the immediate area instantly dropped several degrees. Some of the weaker people around them began to feel as if they were submerged within ice-cold water, and they began to shiver. Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. Jian Chen spat out one word at a time in his anger as his fist began to crack from being held so tightly. This time, the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom had truly infuriated him. Suddenly, a thought crossed Jian Chen's mind. His expression immediately changed as he hurriedly asked, Uncle Chang, what of my parents? Are they all right? The leader and the 4th lady are underground with only minor injuries. Chang Wuji spoke. Before he could finish speaking, Jian Chen had already disappeared into a blur, headed toward the underground rooms. The underground rooms were about 100 meters deep and were very dim. Despite that, it was very spacious and could fit well over 1,000 people in there, with even more rooms to accommodate them all. The very moment Jian Chen entered the rooms below, he could see several of the higher-ranking members of the clan and their guards come walking out. Fourth Master. Some of the guards instantly saluted him when they saw him. Where is my mother? Jian Chen immediately demanded with a dangerous gleam in his eyes, causing the guard to avoid looking him in the eye. The fourth lady is in the biggest room. The guard answered quickly. He immediately ran past them and into the biggest room in the underground area. However, it would be more appropriate to call these rooms caves, instead, due to their appearance. After entering the room, Jian Chen not only found his parents, but even the oldest aunt Ling Long, second aunt Yu Fengyan and third aunt Bai Yushuang. His third brother Chang Yangku was by his mother's side, while several other men covered in blood sat by some of the traumatized women. Right by the entrance, Ming Dong and Du Gufeng stood guard. When their eyes met, they didn't need to speak to convey a conversation. Mother, are you all right? Jian Chen quickly walked forward with a worried expression. In this moment, Jian Chen looked at the wound on his mother's head with an aghast expression. Mother, you're hurt. Xiang'er, your mother is fine. Go look for Yu'er, her injuries are even worse than mine. Bai Yuntian didn't care for her own injuries, and instead was extremely concerned for her future daughter-in-law. At this moment, the princess lay on a bed with an extremely pale face that was scrunched up in pain. Arriving by the bedside, Jian Chen began to inspect the princess for the extent of her wounds. A solemn expression began to overtake his expression as he made his diagnosis. A stone was lodged in the princess' left shoulder, leaving a finger-sized hole within it. There was also a single wound on the left side of her back from where another stone had struck it. A stone had entered her body and nearly injured her heart. The other inner organs had also been struck, leaving behind a dangerous-looking internal injury. Xiang'er, your mother knows you have the ability to heal Yu'er, please save her. She has an extremely dangerous wound. Bai Yuntian whispered to Jian Chen in concern, afraid that the princess would die from her wounds. Jian Chen nodded. The battle outside has stopped. Mother, you should go out to check, I'll treat Princess Yu. Bai Yuntian had no objections to that. After a few more words, she left the room, leaving Jian Chen behind with the princess. Brother, we'll head up first. Ming Dong pulled Du Gufeng away from the room. If this was any other time, then Ming Dong would have taken his time to fire question after question to Jian Chen. Ming Dong didn't have the heart to, since such an event happened to the Changyang clan. After everyone had left, Jian Chen closed the door gingerly behind him and walked back to the bed with a complex expression. With barely a few days of her living in the clan compound, the princess had been heavily injured. This made Jian Chen feel extremely apologetic, almost as if he had personally let her down. Despite the wounds on the princess being quite heavy, she was still awake and capable of clear thought. Her limpid eyes had a strange luster to them as she stared nervously at Jian Chen. Her pale face had a slightly red hue that revealed her shyness. In her heart, despite the troubling moment, she couldn't help but have a nervous delight from such a situation. Jian Chen sat by her bedside and spoke gently, Princess Yu, it may be a little painful in the next few moments, please try to endure. Straight away, Jian Chen lifted his left hand and began to gather a ball of milky white light. The brightness of the sphere began to grow brighter and brighter until the light was nearly dazzling to the eyes within a single moment. Even the dim room was completely illuminated by this light. Yu had her eyes closed, but she could sense a sharp ray of light shining through her closed eyelids. In curiosity, she slowly opened her eyes only to see the white light gathered in Jian Chen's hand. At this sight, Yu's beautiful eyes widened in absolute disbelief at what she was seeing. Although she wasn't a Radiant Saint Master, she had seen the Radiant Saint force many a times as the princess to a kingdom. That pure white glow wasn't something any other technique could replicate. Naturally, it only required a single look to recognize that only a Radiant Saint Master could control the Radiant Saint force. Jian Chen's hand slowly fell back down to Yu Yu's wounds and began to use the Radiant Saint force to heal the injuries. By this point, Jian Chen was already a Class 6 Radiant Saint Master with an abnormally strong control over the Radiant Saint force. His healing abilities were beyond most, so with the wounds caused by the stone being the only matter, it took almost no time before the wound was completely healed up with no scars left. Changyang Xiangtian, you're a Radiant Saint Master. Yu Yu's eyes stared at Jian Chen with a startled heart. Within the Tianyuan continent, it was completely unheard of for a person to have two types of force. Not only was Jian Chen a talented cultivator, but he was also a high-leveled Radiant Saint Master. Jian Chen had a faint smile on his face as he spoke, "Princess Yu Yu, I hope you can keep this as our secret." Yu Yu's eyes continued to hold a strange gleam as she stared at Jian Chen. After a while, she nodded, "I will. I won't speak a word of this to anyone." At this moment, Jian Chen's previously spectacular figure had somehow managed to become even more perfect in her eyes. "Princess Yu Yu, I will continue to treat the wounds on your back then." Hearing this, Yu Yu hesitated for a moment before at last nodding her head in silence. However, just as she started to roll over, the injuries on her back suddenly flared up, causing her face to pale in pain. "You should remain as you are now. Allow me." Jian Chen quickly stopped Yu Yu's movements and helped her turn her body over to inspect her wounds. Jian Chen and Yu Yu continued to remain in the same room with each other for about 2 hours before finally being able to walk out of the room together. Because of Jian Chen's ability as a Class 6 Radiant Saint Master, he was able to bring life back to a man who was on the verge of dying from his inner organs failing on him. Yu Yu's injuries were not as severe, so he was able to completely treat her without as much effort. After changing into a new set of clothes, Yu Yu still exuded a shy air to her. Occasionally, she would sneak amorous glances at Jian Chen in a bashful manner. When the king and Changyang Ba took notice, they couldn't help but smile knowingly. The important figures of the Changyang clan and the other representatives of the 3 clans of Lore City had all gathered in the area. Jian Chen's mother and the other aunts had been taken away by the guards to recover from their wounds, so Jian Chen had not been able to see his own mother. After leaving the underground room, Jian Chen began to revert back to his original mood. Losing the gentle face he displayed underground, Jian Chen walked to Chang Wuji and spoke with a heavy expression, "Uncle Chang, just how heavy were our losses?" "Quite heavy. At least 200 casualties have been reported so far while the wounded are still being accounted for. There are still many guards and servants whose bodies have been buried under the rubble. It will take us some time to excavate them. All of our buildings have been destroyed." Chang Wuji sighed. A flash of killing intent appeared in Jian Chen's eyes. Clenching his fists, Jian Chen's teeth ground together in anger. "Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, I will not let this matter stand. The Heavenly Eagle Kingdom are truly uncouth." The king showed a dark expression as well. After being captured by the Heaven Saint Masters from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, he was naturally furious. "Fourth Master, the magical beast you were raising has been found." Suddenly, one of the guards came running forward with the snowy white tiger. "The cub." Jian Chen's heart skipped a beat in surprise and immediately took the cub from the hands of the soldier to inspect it. Upon inspection, Jian Chen could see that the dust had dyed the tiger's white fur gray, but its eyes were closed shut as it slept in hibernation to digest the heavenly resources. Seeing that the tiger cub was fine, Jian Chen let out a sigh in relief. He hadn't thought of how many dangers that could possibly happen before he left, so he hadn't taken the tiger cub with him. After feeding the cub several heavenly resources, he allowed it to fall asleep so that it would wake up only after Jian Chen had returned. The Changyang clan must make a swift recovery. "Chang Wuji, I entrust this matter to you to make the necessary preparations." Changyang Ba spoke. Yes, this servant understands. Chang Wuji nodded. Hearing this, the eyes of the ruler of Lore City lit up. Master Changyang, please entrust the artisans to me. I will ensure that the very best artisans rebuild the Changyang clan as swiftly as possible. As for the costs for the materials, please leave that to our 3 clans. Each of the representatives of the 3 other major clans spoke. The Changyang clan hadn't lost any strength after this event. Instead, their fame had exploded, especially to the 3 clans and the city lord. They had been stunned to see the development of the Changyang clan's strength. With 6 Heaven Saint Master in their possession, no regular faction could boast of such a feat. Chapter 477, Plans for Revenge. Changyang Ba began to weave several words of polite refusal to the 3 clans and the city lord. My Changyang clan truly appreciates your kindness and goodwill, but despite the calamity that has befallen our Changyang clan, we still have enough strength to rebuild on our own. My dear family, why not build the new Changyang manor within the imperial city? This way, our 2 families will be much closer to each other. Furthermore, this would allow the Changyang clan to be able to adopt a governmental position with ease. The king of the Jessen kingdom spoke with an expectant expression. If the power of the Changyang clan wasn't contained in the imperial city, then it would be a great loss. If the Changyang clan were to be rebuilt within the imperial city, then the strength of the city would be increased by another level. If something like this happened again, then there would be even more experts ready to answer the call. That is, Changyang Ba began to hesitate. The Changyang clan's roots ran deep within Lore City, but with the strength and fame of the Changyang clan now, they would surely become the #1 faction within the imperial city. A result like this would not be a tremendous loss, but at the same time, it would be a major issue if they truly wished to relocate. After all, the reason why the Changyang clan was in Lore City was due to the patriarch's arrangements. Seeing Changyang Ba's expression, Chang Wuji's face grew stiff. My lord, we cannot choose this option. Residing the Changyang clan in Lore City was the decision of our patriarch. Lore City could be said to be our ancestral home, just how could we leave it so easily? Chang Wuji held an especially special position within the Changyang clan. Although he was not a qualified elder of the clan, even the leader of the clan wouldn't be able to ignore his words. With Chang Wuji's firm opposition, Changyang Ba could only decide on declining the king's suggestion. The king could only sigh inwardly to himself with disappointment. He had truly wished for the Changyang clan to be rebuilt within the imperial city. That way, he would have added a strong addition to his defenses. The servants and several soldiers of the Changyang clan began to clear away the rubble in the compound while the elders stored books in their space rings to prevent anyone from stealing them. After all the preparations were done, the clan took up residency in several inns for the time being. At the same time, they called all of the artisans and blacksmiths of Lore City to work around the clock. More than 1,000 artisans gathered that night and began to rebuild the Changyang clan. The king then issued a decree that made many of the nearby cities send their highest quality building materials, so that the Changyang clan would be able to be constructed with ease. After issuing the decree, the king grew worried with the safety of the imperial palace. So with barely enough time to dress his wounds, the king immediately left to travel back to the palace. However, Jian Chen was worried for the king's safety, therefore, he had Xiao Tian and Qing Xiaofan accompany the king back. Such an entourage like this would heighten the imperial palace's defenses as well. On the second day, the Changyang clan used a healthy sum of money to hire several Radiant Saint Masters from the nearby cities. Specializing in healing the injuries of others, these Radiant Saint Masters also had plenty of medicines that were powerful in aiding the healing process of the servants and soldiers. The 4 deceased men from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom had their space rings and the items within confiscated for the clan. From within, the Changyang clan was able to obtain many precious items, monster cores, and money. There had even been several advanced Earth-tier battle skills that made up for what had been lost. The management of the reconstruction of the Changyang clan was monopolized by Chang Wuji. With him in charge, the others were able to relax a little. Within one of the inns, Changyang Ba, Bai Yuntian, Jian Chen, and Yu Yu were all standing outside an enclosed room. If seen from a crack outside, a faint white light could be seen shining from within the room. The four continued to wait for an hour before the door finally opened. 3 white-robed men with pale complexions came walking out of the room exhausted. These 3 men were Class 4 Radiant Saint Masters from the nearby cities and were among the 7 strongest Radiant Saint Masters in the Jesson Kingdom. When the 3 middle-aged men came walking outside, they greeted the fourth master, "My lord, with the combined efforts of us 3, the man's injuries have stabilized for the time being. He has already awoken and wishes to see you. I thank you 3 for your troubles." Changyang Ba spoke in gratitude before walking into the room along with Jian Chen, his mother, and Yu Yu right behind him. Laying on the bed was the captain of the Black Armors, Bai Dao. However, his previously pitch-black armor had long since been worn down from the many wounds and injuries he had received. Bai Dao had been treated by 3 Class 4 Radiant Saint Masters, but his wounds had been far too serious. Thus, his wounds were still not fully healed, and his face was still a pale white color. Seeing Jian Chen and the others having no major injuries, Bai Dao let out a sigh in relief before speaking weakly, "How is the situation now?" They naturally understood what Bai Dao meant. It was fortunate that the 5 imperial advisors were here. We were able to beat back the men from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. Furthermore, we were even able to kill 4 of them while the remaining survivors fled with heavy injuries. However, our Changyang clan's compound was completely destroyed with at least 380 casualties so far. Bai Dao clenched his fists tightly with a look of hatred. "We must take vengeance for this. The Heavenly Eagle Kingdom has been far too unruly. Even the imperial palace of the Jesson Kingdom was destroyed by them, and Senior Yiming was injured. Their clash is with us. We involved everyone else and put His Majesty in harm's way." Bai Yuntian spoke with guilt. "Mother, this trouble was brought upon us by your son. Please rest assured, your child will definitely take vengeance for us. I will make the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom pay a heavy price for this." Jian Chen growled with a heavy amount of killing intent pouring out from him. Bai Dao gave a look of respect to Jian Chen. "Xiangtian, I entrust this task to you then. What you see fit to do to the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom is up to you. The Jesson Kingdom had only just experienced a war, thus our military strength is still lacking for now. We cannot afford to mobilize a large-scale attack on the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom." Jian Chen nodded his head solemnly. "I understand, uncle. I already have a plan to deal with them. Xiangtian, you must learn to exploit the resources given to you. The Qinhuang Kingdom has seen fit to give you the title of an imperial protector because of your talent. In the future when you have enough strength, perhaps the Qinhuang Kingdom will have more need for you. When that time comes, that's when you exploit an advantage. You should do so and not waste it." Bai Dao spoke feebly, but he was still able to speak as the uncle teaching his nephew. When he looked at Jian Chen with grateful eyes, he thought about what honor the Bai clan had gained with such an outstanding grandson. Since it was his uncle giving guidance, Jian Chen adopted a modest and studious attitude. However, his heart did not accept the teachings. His age was not truly reflected by his expression, and he had experienced more things than Bai Dao had. Whatever Bai Dao thought to be a problem was not one to Jian Chen. With the pale face of Bai Dao, Jian Chen had a genuine look of concern that could not be hidden. Although he was 15 years old by the time he had first known about his uncle, they were still dear family. Bai Dao was the brother of his mother and, no matter what was said, they were family. With a twist of his hand, Jian Chen retrieved a white jade bottle from his space ring. From within, Jian Chen took out 2 pills and handed them to Bai Dao. "Uncle, these are Radiant Spirit pills. Please use them to heal yourself." Choosing not to refuse it, Bai Dao accepted the pills with a faint smile. "Xiangtian, your uncle will accept these pills then. What expensive items these are." I can bet that a Class 5 Radiant Saint Master created these. Jian Chen's heart skipped a beat at Bai Dao's words. How exactly does one make these pills? He asked. Its manufacturing is extremely troublesome. It requires a Class 5 Radiant Saint Master and an alchemist to simultaneously work together to make a Radiant Spirit pill. Other than that, many rare ingredients and supplements must be gathered. It will fail if there is any negligence, meaning making a Radiant Spirit pill is extremely challenging. The higher the ranking of the pill, the more troublesome it is in making it. Bai Dao explained. Jian Chen's eyes lit up as he secretly concluded to himself that he would definitely find a method to create several pills when he had the time. He would definitely need some in the future, like when he needed to heal someone without the usage of the Radiant Saint Force. After leaving his uncle's room, Jian Chen went straight to Du Feng and Ming Dong. I will be leaving for a short amount of time. I'll be troubling you with the protection of my family when the time comes. Hearing this, Ming Dong and Du Feng both remained silent, almost as if they had long since knew about Jian Chen's plan. Off to the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom? Ming Dong asked. Jian Chen walked to the window and opened it to stare off at the distant ruins of the Changyang clan. No, to the Qinhuang Palace. The Qinhuang Kingdom. Ming Dong gasped with Du Feng immediately guessing Jian Chen's plan. Brother, don't tell me you are planning to, the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom will be exterminated. Jian Chen growled. The Heavenly Eagle Kingdom had stabbed at his reverse scale, so Jian Chen would truly wipe the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom off the face of the Tian Yuan continent. At the same time, he would set an example for everyone else with the power of the Qinhuang Kingdom. This would too demonstrate the relationship between the Jessen Kingdom and the Qinhuang Kingdom. After leaving Ming Dong's room, Jian Chen called for Dong Yijunbai, Tian Luo, and Chao Kaqin. Would there be any way possible for a space gate to be situated at the Jessen Kingdom? It is, but if one wants an extremely accurate positioning, then a reactive device must be installed. Chao Kaqin spoke. Happily, Jian Chen replied, do you know how to create such a thing? Yes. That's good. Go 10 kilometers away from Lore City and set one up. Jian Chen spoke. Yes, honored Imperial Protector. Chao Kaqin cupped his hands together and left. After Chao Kaqin left, only Jian Chen, Tian Luo, and Dong Yijunbai were left in the room. Jian Chen's eyes swept across the two with a serious expression. Tian Luo, Dong Yijunbai. I will return to the Qinhuang Kingdom for a moment. You will stay here and protect the Changyang clan from danger for now. My family especially must be protected. Honored Imperial Protector, we will use up all our energy to protect the Changyang clan. The two replied. Standing up from his chair, Jian Chen looked at the two men solemnly. The kindness everyone has shown me here today, I, Jian Chen, will definitely remember and will repay everyone for their kindness. Hearing this, Tian Luo and Dong Yijunbai were extremely joyous. The reason why they followed Jian Chen from the Qinhuang Kingdom was to see Jian Chen's skill for themselves. In their heart, they knew that Jian Chen would attain heights faster than anyone else, so they used this opportunity to draw themselves close. Jian Chen's words were like a promise that made the two unable to contain their joy. If we can serve the Imperial Protector, then it would be our honor. Chapter 478, Returning to Walorant City. Leaving the inn, Jian Chen flew to the exit of Lore City and headed in the direction of the area where Chao Kaqin was fiddling with whatever had to be done 10 kilometers away. Arriving at Chao Kaqin's side, Jian Chen asked, how is it, did you finish? Chao Kaqin held 2 fist-sized crystals in his hand. Burying one crystal deep underground, he handed the other to Jian Chen. I've just finished. Honored Imperial Protector, these 2 crystals share identical energies that cause them to share an amazing connection. If you bring this crystal to whomever is operating the space gate on the other side, they will be able to coordinate the space gate to lock onto wherever the other crystal is. However, it would be for the best that you bring the most detailed map you have to better locate the targeted area. Jian Chen took the crystal from Chao Kachin and began to study it. It was a sphere-like crystal that sparkled in a way similar to how light would shine through glass. There was also a strange type of energy swirling within that Jian Chen had never seen before. Putting the crystal within his space ring, Jian Chen and Chao Kachin left to return to Lore City. On the second morning, Jian Chen bid farewell to his clan and left the Jessan Kingdom with the white tiger cub. Bai Yuntian had been extremely reluctant to part with her child, but she knew that his task right now was not a simple one. With tears, she bade farewell to her son. The second day after Jian Chen had left the Jessan Kingdom, 6 pale-faced, raggedy Heaven Saint Masters fell back down to the middle of the imperial palace of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. The guards at the palace had instantly recognized their group and saluted them straight away before running off to report to the king. The 6 men burst into the palace halls and sat down in their chairs. Several men had extremely serious faces and sat there without a word, but the depressing aura around them was quite palpable. Soon enough, the crisp sound of laughter could be heard from outside. Ha ha ha, I didn't think seniors would be coming back so fast. I wasn't expecting such speed, but just how would the Jessan Kingdom have any strength to defend themselves from us? Have you eliminated that youth, Changyang Xiangtian? If he doesn't die, then he will one day bring disaster upon our Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. Laughing, the king of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom came walking in. The glittering smile on his face emphasized just how cheerful he was. But the 6 men sat there without a word, not a single one had answered the king. When the king strode into the halls, he noticed that the atmosphere within the area wasn't right. Looking curiously at the 6 men seated nearby, he noticed that they were pale in the face and were depressed as well. Immediately, the smile on his face disappeared as his mood dropped. From the expression of the 6, the king could roughly guess that the end results had not been at all like he expected. Growing serious, the king spoke, "Honored seniors, just what in the world happened?" AI. One of the 6 sighed to the sky with a pain-filled look. This time, we've angered the wrong people. Originally, everything was going as planned, but when the moment came for us to grab Changyang Xiangtian at his clan compound, 5 Heaven Saint Masters came out to fight us. Their power was far too strong. Even together, we were not a match for them. In the end, they killed 4 of us and forced the rest of us to flee. We even had to throw away our hostages in order to distract our pursuers and escape with our lives. The king was stunned into silence as he listened. His entire body became paralyzed. This type of result was something he simply could not imagine in 1,000 years. He never thought that with 10 Heaven Saint Masters sent to the Jessan Kingdom, they would be beaten. Not only that, but 4 of them had been killed and the rest were lucky to escape. Your Highness, we suspect that the 5 Heaven Saint Masters residing within the Changyang clan were in fact the 5 imperial advisors from the Qinhuang Kingdom. Only they would have so much strength like that. The red-haired man spoke with difficulty. Hearing this, the king began to tremble in utter disbelief. Could there truly be a connection between the Changyang clan and the Qinhuang Kingdom? I can only hope our suspicions are wrong. The red-haired man sighed. In the blink of an eye, many had passed days since Jian Chen had left the Jessan Kingdom. After traveling for so many days, he had finally arrived back at Walorant City. Walorant City was located within the Zhuya Kingdom and was the city that Jian Chen had met Qin Shao. He and Qin Shao hadn't seen each other for half a year already, so he had begun to miss him. Thus, he would take this chance to go see him first. There had been no noticeable changes to Walorant City since the last time Jian Chen was here. It had been one and the same, and from the moment Jian Chen walked into the city, the area all around him flashed back in his mind to the day when Ming Dong and he first arrived. This caused his expression to be quite absent-minded. Subconsciously, Jian Chen arrived at the giant gates leading to the Tianqin clan. He was prepared to walk right in when the guards standing by the side stopped him from getting too close. "Halt, this is the residence of the Tianqin clan, outsiders are not allowed in." The guard spoke in a stale voice as he looked at Jian Chen. Jian Chen looked at the soldiers. They were not the same ones from before, so they wouldn't know him either. After thinking for a moment, Jian Chen decided to speak with them. I am looking for Qin Shao, please send a message to him for me. At this moment, the young master isn't accepting visitors. Come back another day. Jian Chen's eyebrows furrowed together, but just as he was about to speak, a carriage suddenly came traveling forward at high speeds. Right above the carriage was a single banner with the word, Qin. Quickly, the carriage stopped right in front of the Tianqin clan compound. A single white-colored dress-wearing woman with a delicate figure came stepping out of the carriage. Although her face was covered, it did not take much to guess that her appearance befitted that of a woman capable of bringing down a country with her beauty. The woman stepped off the carriage, and the moment she saw Jian Chen, a look of confusion overcame her face. Shortly after, a look of shock overcame her look of confusion and asked, "If I may ask, are you Lord Jian Chen?" The woman's voice was extremely light and was like the singing of a skylark. Jian Chen arrived right in front of the woman and bowed his hands with a smile. "I didn't think I would come across the second lady here. It has been a year since our last meeting, your beauty has grown much since then." Chapter 479, Tianqin Clan. The second lady of the Tianqin clan gently glided forward to Jian Chen and stared at him with a strange light in her beautiful eyes. Lord Jian Chen is quite the famous person now. The glorious title of the King of Mercenaries has been so gained by Lord Jian Chen. When the two guards heard what the second lady was saying, their faces grew startled. Turning to look at Jian Chen in a whole new light, they began to feel the utmost regret in their hearts. Especially the guard that had firmly refused Jian Chen from entering the clan, his face turned utterly pale. Blast! I didn't think that he would be the king of mercenaries, Jian Chen. Just what words did I use to speak to him with? Jian Chen cupped his hands together with a smile. The second lady's words are too serious. This one only received such a title due to luck, that's all. Lord Jian Chen is truly modest. The second lady's beautiful eyes revealed a faint smiling expression. Looking at Jian Chen with even more admiration, she spoke, "Lord Jian Chen, since you are here at our Tianqin clan, please come in and sit for a while." This one was here for such a purpose. Jian Chen smiled pleasantly without an air of arrogance. "Please come in then, my lord." The second lady waved her hand before walking alongside him into the courtyards. As she passed the guards, she gave a reproachful eye to the both of them and commanded, "This is Lord Jian Chen, an honored guest to our Tianqin clan. I pray that you won't be so impolite in the future." Now apologized to Lord Jian Chen with haste. Terrified, the two guards immediately knelt on the ground and spoke with panic, "Your servant should die a thousand's death. Please forgive this servant, Lord Jian Chen." The guards knew how far the influence of being the king of mercenaries went. If the Tianqin clan were to find out that they had stopped the king of mercenaries from paying a visit and tried to drive him out, the guards were terrified to think just what serious punishment would befall them. Let it be, this was a trivial matter. Best to forget about it. Jian Chen was not one that finagled with every little thing, and what just happened was not something that was out of the ordinary to him. Many major clans had guards with at least some arrogance, even his Changyang clan was no different. Jian Chen followed the second lady into the Tianqin clan while the news that the king of mercenaries had arrived quickly spread like wildfire through the guards and to the clan leader. So not too long after Jian Chen entered the courtyards, Qin Zhao's father and the other elders came out to personally greet him. "Ha ha ha, we welcome brother Jian Chen's presence in our Tianqin clan. Your presence brings light to my humble abode." The leader of the Tianqin clan laughed with a respectful greeting. Right now Jian Chen's identity was not the same as it was before. With the title of King of Mercenaries, even the leader of the Tianqin clan would have to treat him vastly different than he had before. After exchanging several words of greeting with the leader, Jian Chen was provided with warm hospitality in the halls. Meanwhile, the news that he was here continued to spread within the Tianqin clan. Several of the other high-ranking members caught wind of his arrival and came running to meet him. Some wished to become friends with him while the others wished to see the grace of the king of mercenaries. Within one of the more luxurious rooms of the Tianqin clan, the sounds of the grunts of a man and the erotic sounds of a woman could be heard. Just then, a housekeeper suddenly came running in and knocked on the door. "Young master, this servant has just received word that the king of mercenaries, Jian Chen, has arrived by our Tianqin clan." Within the room, Tianju was currently intertwined with a beautiful woman on the bed. Hearing the housekeeper speak, his entire body began to shake and another part of his body grow impotent. "What, Jian Chen is here in our clan compound?" Tianju couldn't help but think back to what happened between he and Jian Chen a year ago, causing his face to turn pale. "Jian Chen came to the Tianqin clan, he has to be looking for me." No. I can't stay here." Tianju immediately lost all his drive to continue having with the woman under him. Ignoring the bitterness in her voice, he immediately got off the bed and began to dress. "Housekeeper Tian, prepare a carriage. I will leave the city at once. Do not tell this to anyone." At this moment, Jian Chen was talking with the high-ranking members of the Tianqin clan. Now that he was the king of mercenaries, the entire Tianqin clan had to treat him with the utmost respect. None of them dared act as if he was nothing like they did a year ago, especially the Tian family. For the sake of apologizing for Tianju's misunderstanding with Jian Chen a year ago, they had to be extra sincere. After several exchanges, Jian Chen got to the root of the problem. Facing the leader of the Tianqin clan, he spoke, "My lord, I wish to see Qin Shao. My deepest apologies, but ever since his return from the gathering of the mercenaries, my son has gone with the Grand Elder behind closed-door cultivation and has not yet returned." The man spoke apologetically, but inwardly, he was pleased. If his son and Jian Chen were to remain close, when the day came for his son to become the leader of the clan, the Tianqin clan would earn an extremely strong friend. There were rumors throughout the Tian Yuan continent. Whenever there was a new gathering of the mercenaries, if they were able to fully mature, at the very least, they would become a heaven saint master. The rest would usually be able to have a good chance of breaking through to become a saint ruler. Hearing that Qin Shao wasn't here, Jian Chen had a disappointed look on his face. He had came to the Tianqin clan today just for the purpose of seeing him. Afterward, the Tianqin clan tried to persuade Jian Chen to stay even longer in hopes that Jian Chen would agree while also sending men to call back Qin Shao. Finally, Jian Chen relented and promised that he would stay one more day. However, he declined the clan's attempt to have them recall Qin Shao back. He had not wished to disturb Qin Shao's cultivation. Jian Chen was well received within the Tianqin clan, and that night, a feast was prepared for Jian Chen. After the feast, Jian Chen was given a luxurious room that was specially prepared for him. At this moment, the cub that had been sleeping around Jian Chen's chest finally awoke. Opening its bright eyes, it began to look around the room before jumping onto Jian Chen's shoulder, using its furry head to rub Jian Chen's cheek. "Little thing, you finally awoke after so long." Jian Chen laughed as he pet the cub. Feeling the energy within the tiger cub, Jian Chen could sense that the tiger cub was now at the class 3 level. "Mrrr!" The cub gave a mewling sound as it began to sniff at Jian Chen's space ring with its nose. Realizing what the tiger cub was doing, Jian Chen felt some shock. The tiger cub's intelligence had grown by a large amount if it was able to use this way to find the heavenly resources. This cub truly deserves to be called a heavenly tiger god. Jian Chen thought. Taking out some serpentine grass, core lotus flowers, and purple fruit, Jian Chen began to feed them one by one to the white tiger cub. After several heavenly resources were fed, the tiger cub immediately fell back into a meditative sleep. Placing the sleeping tiger cub onto the bed, Jian Chen put the remaining heavenly resources back into his space ring with a worrying glance. "There's not many heavenly resources left. I probably only have enough for it to reach the class 4 level before I run out. I must go find some more sooner or later," or the cub's strength will be stalled. He muttered. The night quickly passed, and on the second morning, Jian Chen took the tiger cub from his room with him to bid farewell to the Tianqin clan. On the way through the flower garden, the sounds of a zither could be heard as the second lady of the Tianqin clan sat within the center of a pavilion with her instrument. Hearing the emotional sounds of the zither, Jian Chen couldn't help but think back to the heavenly enchantress he had met back in the holy lands of Mercenary City. The heavenly enchantress had been magnificent and peerless under the heavens. Her beauty could capture the hearts of even the animals and shame the moon and flowers. The world would lose its splendor. Even Jian Chen couldn't help but sigh in admiration for this once-in-a-generation woman. Jian Chen calmly walked to the pavilion where the second lady was. Upon looking at the zither on the stone desk, his eyes grew shocked. When he saw the heavenly enchantress in the Holy Lands, he had been able to see the zither she had with her. This very zither the second lady of the Tianqin clan was using was the exact same one as the heavenly enchantress. This was far too unexpected. Jian Chen hadn't disturbed the second lady and instead stood very still. Soon enough, the ballad the second lady was playing on her zither finished, allowing her to turn around. Lord Jian Chen, please sit. There was a faint layer of muslin covering her face so that her appearance could not be seen. Without further ado, Jian Chen walked to the seat right in front of the second lady and sat down. The second lady's slender fingers gently brushed the zither's string with a slight melodic sound. Looking to Jian Chen, she spoke, "This woman knows that Lord Jian Chen is not an enthusiast for the zither. So, what might the Lord be doing standing behind this lady then?" Smiling, Jian Chen spoke, "This one had noticed that the second lady's zither and the zither of the heavenly enchantress are the same. I was merely curious and decided to take a closer look. If I disturbed you, then please forgive me." The second lady's eyes revealed a surprise light enter them. "Has Lord Jian Chen met the heavenly enchantress?" "I met her by chance in Mercenary City." Jian Chen spoke. Understanding straight away, the second lady of the Tianqin clan spoke, "The Lord has overlooked a detail. This zither of mine is merely a counterfeit version of the zither of the demonic cry. On the outside, the two look exactly the same, but there are many of these fakes. So it's like that, this one was too hasty in my observations." Afterward, Jian Chen spoke several conversational words before finally saying goodbye. "Second lady, today this one will be leaving the Tianqin clan. I hope that we will see each other again in the future, goodbye." "Is the Lord leaving that quickly?" Holding the zither in her hands, the second lady began to walk leisurely with Jian Chen in the manner that a well-brought-up lady would act. "This one has an important matter to take care of that cannot be delayed. Thus, I cannot stay for long," Jian Chen replied. After Jian Chen bade farewell to the second lady, Jian Chen left to find the leader of the Tianqin clan. Although the Tianqin clan leader wished for him to stay even longer, Jian Chen was determined to leave. Nothing would force him to stay any longer, so it was only with regret that the leader bade farewell to Jian Chen. As soon as Jian Chen left the Tianqin clan, he went to buy a detailed map of the area at a nearby emporium. Finding the Dazhou kingdom on it, he immediately set off for it. In all of this, he had inadvertently sent Tianju scrambling away from Walorant City in vain. Chapter 480, Return to the Qinhuang Kingdom. The Dazhou Kingdom wasn't far from the Tianqin clan. After several hours of flight, Jian Chen finally arrived at one of the strongholds of the Dazhou Kingdom. In accordance to the map, Jian Chen followed the directions to the imperial city. After another 4 hours of flight, Jian Chen traveled 3,000 kilometers into the kingdom and finally arrived at the imperial city. This time, since he was requesting their help and wished to be courteous and respectful, he did not fly straight for the imperial palace and instead descended to the ground right in front of the palace gates. There were guards day and night at the imperial palace, and the arrival of a heaven saint master shocked everyone and prompted for the head watch to immediately head down to greet Jian Chen respectfully. "Senior, this one is the captain of the 5th Guard unit, might this one know the reason for Senior's presence?" As he spoke, the man looked curiously at Jian Chen. When he took note of how young Jian Chen was, the captain couldn't help but feel surprised. After a while, he concluded that Jian Chen must have used some sort of secret to maintain his youthful appearance, allowing his real age to remain hidden. This one is the imperial advisor for the Qinhuang kingdom. I came here today to your kingdom to pay a visit, please send a message for me. Jian Chen spoke calmly. Upon hearing that the person in front of him was the imperial advisor for the Qinhuang kingdom, the captain was immediately startled. Yes, your servant will send one right away. You there, escort senior into the palace. The captain commanded a person to escort Jian Chen while he himself used some sort of movement technique to disappear into the palace. Whenever a heaven saint master came to pay a visit, it was never for a small matter. The imperial advisor of the Qinhuang kingdom would most definitely have an extremely large matter. So the captain didn't dare be negligent and immediately ran off to report to the king. Within the magnificent palace of the Dazhou kingdom, several beautiful women with plenty of makeup could be seen singing and dancing with barely any clothes covering their pale bodies. Right in front of them was a pure gold table with all sorts of exotic delicacies. The king was a single man in his 50s and wore a golden dragon robe. Sitting right in front of the table, he was currently enjoying the performance in front of him. Just at that moment, a single court eunuch came running in and knelt before the king's side and whispered in his ear. Suddenly, a startled expression overcame the king's face. Turning to look at the court eunuch, he spoke, "What? An imperial advisor of the Qinhuang kingdom is here to pay a visit?" "Yes, your highness. The captain of the palace guards came to report to me, he would not lie." Standing straight up, the king strode straight for the outside of the halls and spoke, "Come with me to greet him. And have some people bring the imperial advisor over." Jian Chen had been relocated to one of the more grand-looking palace halls where the king began to warmly receive him. 5 white-haired elders came walking into the palace. As soon as they entered and saw Jian Chen, they immediately sat down on some nearby chairs. Greeting Jian Chen, the king of the Dazhou kingdom spoke, "Honored imperial advisor from the Qinhuang kingdom, these are my 5 imperial advisors." Jian Chen smiled and cupped his hands toward the 5. These 5 were not strangers to him. Last time he was here, they were the ones that he saw when he was with the Tianqin clan as they used the space gate to get to Mercenary City. The 5 imperial advisors did a friendly salute to Jian Chen as well before exchanging several words of greeting. For the imperial advisor of the Qinhuang kingdom to come here, this is an honor for our Dazhou kingdom. But considering this is quite the important manner, if we may, could sire please show proof of his status? Jian Chen gave a faint smile. He knew that the opposition would definitely doubt his identity. The Qinhuang kingdom was too far away from the Dazhou kingdom. For an imperial advisor to pay a visit to the Dazhou kingdom, there would definitely be suspicion. Jian Chen took out a purple jade pendant from within his space ring to show to the elder. Would this item suffice in proof? The elder took the jade piece from Jian Chen and began to inspect it. It was made of expert craftsmanship and carried the banner of the Qinhuang kingdom. The word Qin was carved in on it while on the other side was the word protect. However, when the elder realized just what material this jade was made from, his eyes lit up in fierce surprise. This is spirit amethyst. Hearing this, the surrounding 4 imperial advisors let loose a shocked expression. Naturally, they knew just what spirit amethyst was. It was an extremely rare and high-quality jade, an item that even the nobles wouldn't be able to buy. It is said that the spirit amethysts were made from the purple clouds that gathered within the world. Such an event was extremely rare and could barely be seen on the Tianyuan continent. An important cultural thing I can't really explain. Seeing that the token was made from the especially rare spirit amethyst, the imperial advisors were completely convinced that Jian Chen was who he said he was. Inwardly, they were still surprised and thought to themselves, it is no wonder the Qinhuang kingdom is one of the 8 great empires. Even the imperial advisors are given a medallion made purely from spirit amethyst. They were not from the Qinhuang kingdom, and they were far too far away for them to know the schematics behind the Qinhuang kingdom. Little did they know that an imperial advisor from the Qin Huang would only be given a medallion made from a rare type of metal as proof. It was not made from spirit amethyst at all, neither would an imperial advisor have the word, protect, carved on their medallions. Only 5 people within the Qin Huang kingdom were qualified to hold a medallion made from spirit amethyst. Returning the jade back to Jian Chen, the imperial advisor smiled, "Please forgive my earlier curiosity. I hope Senior won't take offense to it." After confirming his identity, everyone began to treat Jian Chen even better than before. After both sides exchanged some words of conversation, Jian Chen moved on to the heart of the matter. "Today, I come to your esteemed kingdom to borrow your space gate. Would that be fine with you?" Yes, of course it's fine. Our imperial advisors will open it for you at any time you need." The king didn't hesitate to agree to Jian Chen's request. Pausing for a moment, he added, "Our Dazhou kingdom and the Qinhuang kingdom may be far away, but I hope that we can become allies in the future. This one hopes that Senior will convey our intentions back to Qinhuang kingdom." "I will make sure to convey those words." Jian Chen replied to their request. This area was the only territory with a space gate, and Jian Chen had no idea just how often he would need to use this gate. So he would need to ensure that the connection between the two kingdoms wouldn't falter. Afterward, Jian Chen followed the king of the Dazhou kingdom out to where the space gate was. The space gate had an array overlaid onto it and had a mysterious and complex magic to it. A single imperial advisor took out several Class 5 monster cores from his space ring and inserted it into the cavities of the space gate. With enough power, the array began to light up and surge with energy. Finally, a 3-meter large door formed. The insides of the door frame warped in a chaotic way. "Imperial advisor, where might your destination be?" The imperial advisors controlling the space gate spoke to Jian Chen. "The Qinhuang kingdom." Taking a look at the map, the imperial advisors found the location and swiftly began to manipulate the space gate. In a flash, the space within the space gate began to clear up to form an image of a large range of mountains. "Since we have no markers, we cannot ascertain the location of the Qinhuang kingdom's location. We will only be able to send you to a rough coordinate. Although it isn't within the Qinhuang kingdom's territory, it should be bordering it. Imperial advisor, please head on in." The elder controlling the space gate spoke. "I will be sure to come back to give my thanks in the future." Jian Chen spoke before entering the gate. With a single small pacing of his feet, he crossed countless of kilometers. After Jian Chen walked out from the space gate, it disappeared without a trace behind him and returned to its original form. Looking around, Jian Chen could see that he was standing within a flat mountain range with mountains all around. After taking out his map to look at for a while, he immediately began to fly into the general direction of where the sun was. After half a day, Jian Chen finally arrived at the Qinhuang kingdom's imperial palace and descended down. As soon as he touched down, several soldiers with a frightful amount of killing intent came flying over. At the same time, several strong amounts of qi could be felt from within the Qinhuang kingdom. Soon, several heaven saint masters with a hostile nature came flying out to surround Jian Chen. When they saw just who the newcomer was, their faces were stunned for a moment before cupping their hands together. "We pay our respects to the imperial protector." At this moment, the soldiers surrounding Jian Chen realized just who he was. Straight away, the killing intent they had exuded disappeared without a trace. Several hundred people began to kneel down right in front of him. "We pay our respects to the honored imperial protector." These were the soldiers of the elite with strengths beyond the norms. As they all spoke out in unison, it was as if thunder could be heard rumbling throughout the palace. Jian Chen allowed the soldiers to rise before turning to the confused heaven saint masters. "Did something happen for the Qinhuang kingdom to be this nervous?" "Imperial protector, our palace forbids the usage of flying. Even we must walk to enter the palace. When we saw a person flying into the palace, we had all assumed it was an enemy." One of the imperial advisors spoke. Jian Chen suddenly realized that he had not stayed within the Qinhuang kingdom for that long, so he didn't know the rules of this land. You may leave for now. I've some matters I wish to discuss with the king first. With that, Jian Chen left the area. Jian Chen spread his presence to cover the entire palace, and soon enough discovered the king to be in his study and rushed in that direction. Although the Qinhuang Palace had strict security with a guard every 3 steps and a patrol every 5, Jian Chen's status as an imperial protector was enough for him to walk unimpeded. No one had the desire to stop him, so Jian Chen was able to enter the king's study where the king was leisurely reading a book at his table. Chapter 481. Borrowing soldiers. The king of the Qinhuang kingdom sat in his study with a book in hand as he read it with interest. The sounds of Jian Chen entering the room startled him, causing him to turn his eyes away from his book. When he saw that it was Jian Chen that had disturbed him, he had a startled look on his face. Jian Chen's sudden arrival was not something he had expected. Slowly putting down the book in his hand, the king smiled. I hadn't imagined that the imperial protector would come pay me visit. Please take a seat. Jian Chen sat down right in front of the king with a slightly surprised look. Despite it only being several days since I last saw your majesty, his highness still looks as well as ever. Living to the age of 500 will be of no problem. Laughing, the king replied. As expected, I cannot hide anything from the imperial protector. Several days back, I used some heavenly resources and made a breakthrough with the help of a royal ancestor. Although I became stronger, it is still a far ways away from the imperial protector. The two sides began to talk for a little before Jian Chen finally spoke what was on his mind. Your Majesty, in truth, I came back for an important matter that requires the help of the Qinhuang kingdom. The king immediately realized that it had to be serious if Jian Chen would come running all the way back. Growing grim, he spoke, Speak what you need then. You are the imperial protector of our Qinhuang kingdom. With your status as such, whatever your issue is an issue of our Qinhuang kingdom too. I wish for an army division. A division of the elites. Jian Chen spoke. A single division of the army? What for? Is there a war happening? The king asked with surprise. Jian Chen nodded. Correct, there will be war. Afterward, Jian Chen explained just what had happened in the Jessan kingdom, much to the king's surprise. When he spoke of the destruction that had happened to his clan, the king carried a murderous air to him. After hearing Jian Chen's narration of the story, the king's face had an angry tint to it. Exploding with fury, he spoke, How preposterous. This heavenly eagle kingdom has been far too savage. Do they dare treat the imperial protector of the Qinhuang kingdom as if he was nothing? Your Majesty, I must destroy the heavenly eagle kingdom. Thus, I require an elite division of soldiers and the use of the space gate to send them to the Jessan kingdom. I will upfront the costs of the monster cores. Jian Chen spoke. Hearing this, the king hesitated for a moment. Jian Chen, your authority allows you to command a division of 1,000,000 at will without needing to report to anyone. However, we should talk about this matter once more tomorrow. That is fine, I will await His Majesty tomorrow. Jian Chen didn't mince any words and left straight away. Some time after Jian Chen had left, the king sat there with his eyebrows narrowed together deep in thought. Then, after putting his book back into its original spot, he left the study. After Jian Chen left the king's study, he left for the Qin Heaven Palace. From far away, Jian Chen could already see several guards standing right by the palace as if they were stone. The Qin Heaven Palace belonged to Jian Chen since he was an imperial protector. Although he wasn't there, the guards wouldn't slack off. Day and night, multiple guards could be seen stationed there and many more would patrol the area during the daytime. We pay our respects to the imperial protector. Naturally, when Jian Chen came walking into the Qin Heaven Palace, all of the guards there knelt down in subservience. With the tiger cub in hand, Jian Chen strode into the palace. The guards opened the palace doors for him, so he wouldn't have to do so himself, before gingerly closing it after he entered. These girl pays our respects to the imperial protector. As soon as Jian Chen entered the Qin Heaven Palace, several outstanding beauties immediately stooped forward in salute. They were the maids of the Qin Heaven Palace who stayed within the palace even if Jian Chen wasn't there. You may leave to do your own thing, don't mind me. Jian Chen spoke before returning to his personal bedroom. Gently putting the tiger cub on the bed, Jian Chen sat by his table and began to think. He knew that using the space gate to transport an army would require a huge sum of Class 5 monster cores, but he had killed many Heaven Saint Masters and obtained plenty of Class 5 and Class 6 monster cores from their space rings. In total, it had been a plentiful harvest of Class 5 monster cores and there were a decent amount of Class 6 monster cores now. Right now, Jian Chen was thinking about just how many people could be transported. Although it didn't need to be a large number, their strength had to be high enough in order for them to destroy the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom without the help of the Jessen Kingdom while also inspiring fear. Honored Imperial Protector, please have some tea. A maid came bearing tea and placed it right in front of Jian Chen. As soon as Jian Chen finished his tea, a single guard could be heard from outside his room. I've a report for the honored Imperial Protector, the third prince seeks an audience. Upon hearing Qin Ji's arrival, Jian Chen immediately went out to greet him in person. As the two met, Qin Ji smiled. Jian Chen, it really is you. I heard people shouting for the Imperial Protector, so I guessed it was you. I didn't think that my guess would be right. Laughing, Jian Chen replied, come in then, let's not stand out here. The two walked into the Qin Heaven Palace and sat right in front of a table. Straight away, Qin Ji spoke, Jian Chen, I didn't think that you would return that fast. Did you take care of everything with your family? You can stay here for a while longer then. Jian Chen shook his head. As soon as one wave ceases, another wave of trouble comes forth. I came here to borrow an army. Borrow an army? Qin Ji was startled. Is the enemy that strong if Xiao Tian and the others weren't enough to keep the peace? The imperial advisors of our Qinhuang kingdom are selected carefully. Xiao Tian and the other 4 are strong enough to fight enemies 2 to 1. Afterward, Jian Chen relayed the story to Qin Ji. As soon as the story ended, Qin Ji exploded with a furious snarl, that Heavenly Eagle Kingdom is far too much. They should truly be exterminated. But Jian Chen, to transport an entire division through a space gate would require the usage of plenty of monster cores. I think that you should bring some imperial advisors with you. With them helping you exterminate the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, they won't even exist in name. Jian Chen shook his head. Qin Ji's way of thinking was far too simplistic. If it was just a matter of extinguishing the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, Xiao Tian's group and Jian Chen would be enough to complete the task. All it would require is some energy, that's all. The reason why he had run all the way here to borrow an army, and use so many monster cores to transport them, was for a different reason that was not as simplistic. Qin Ji, what is your general estimation for how many monster cores I'll need to transport an entire division? Jian Chen asked. A space gate uses 6 monster cores for a single-time use. I presume you understand that a space gate requires a steady stream of energy to power it. If people can cross into the space gate fast enough, then 6 Class 5 monster cores should be enough for about 600 people. Having said that, this equates to a single Class 5 monster core being enough to allow 100 people entry. Do you understand the terrifying costs of how much energy is needed now? A Class 5 monster core can send 100 people. Then that means 100 Class 5 monster cores could send 10,000 people, what a hefty cost. Jian Chen muttered. Correct, I suggest you give up on such a thought. Class 5 monster cores aren't so easily found as Class 2 or Class 3 monster cores. 100 Class 5 monster cores can only send 10,000 people, that is a number too small and isn't practical. Bring several strong experts instead. Jian Chen smiled, although the cost is large, it isn't beyond my expectations. Qin Ji was stunned. Looking at Jian Chen with suspicion, he spoke, Jian Chen, just how many Class 5 monster cores do you have, you little devil? What is a single Class 6 monster core in comparison to a Class 5 monster core? Jian Chen answered him without really answering the question. Qin Ji thought about it for a moment before saying, a Class 6 monster core is extremely rare. Only Heaven Saint Masters are able to kill the monsters with one, and those are still rare to come by. All of the Class 6 magical beasts are centered within the depths of Cross Mountain, barely any roam outside of it, and that area is a forbidden area for us humans. Whichever Heaven Saint Master that entered the Cross Mountains before had all died. So Class 6 monster cores from there are hard to come by, but their price as a result are 100 to 1,000 times more expensive than a Class 5 monster core. If you have a Class 6 monster core, then I wouldn't be able to make certain of the exact number. I'd imagine that it would be the same as using several hundred Class 5 monster cores. If people hurry, then it could possibly be equivalent to 1,000 Class 5 monster cores. If the Class 5 monster cores aren't enough, then I'll use Class 6 monster cores then. Jian Chen muttered. On the second day, Jian Chen found the king and once more began to talk of yesterday's request. This time, the king had a smile on his face. Jian Chen, I spoke with the royal ancestor yesterday. He has told me that our Qinhuang kingdom will give you the monster cores needed to transport 1,000,000 soldiers. If more are needed, it will be up to you to make up for the deficit. Hearing this, Jian Chen was overjoyed. These words of the king would mean that Jian Chen would be able to save plenty of monster cores. I thank His Majesty for his generosity. Jian Chen accepted the offer right away. The king laughed merrily. Our Qinhuang kingdom has 5 divisions, each one of them being elite trained soldiers. Each division has 2,000,000 soldiers. 4 divisions are located within each of the 4 strongholds. The final division is located here at the Imperial City. Named the Eastern Deity Swords, they are tasked with the important mission of protecting the Imperial City. Jian Chen, if you wish for a large division, then take some from the Eastern Deity Swords. Chapter 482, 500,000 strong army, that's fine then, there's no time to lose. I will need a division of 500,000. Jian Chen spoke impatiently. 500,000 should be more than enough. The king smiled. Jian Chen, transferring the soldiers to you doesn't require me to personally come with you to transfer them. I will send a decree to the Eastern Deity Swords and have them send their strongest 500,000 with you. However, the transferring of that many troops will not be so quick, it will require some time. Jian Chen nodded, that will be fine, I will wait for the news then. After the business talks were done, Jian Chen relayed the Dazhou Kingdom's desire of an alliance with the Qinhuang Kingdom to the king. He had promised the Dazhou Kingdom that he would deliver the message, but whether or not the 2 kingdoms would really work toward an alliance was of no concern to him. Giving several more moments of small talk, Jian Chen finally left the king's palace and returned to his own Qin Heaven Palace. Afterward, he called out to one of the maids, I will be cultivating for a while. Notify the rest that I am not to be disturbed. I will not meet anyone before then and I will not have anyone try to. This servant understands. The maid replied respectfully before bowing out to inform everyone. Jian Chen sat on his bed and exhaled slowly. Then taking the skeleton of the Saint Ruler out from his space ring, he began to inspect it slowly. The Saint Ruler's skeleton was about 2 meters in height and looked quite sturdy. Just from looking at the skeleton one would know that the person had to have been quite sturdy when he was alive. The bones were snowy white and were nearly transparent with a resplendent light emanating from them that made them seem like a precious treasure. On the skeleton itself was a faint movement of light that seemed as if there was mercury flowing over it. This was the second time Jian Chen had seen a Saint Ruler's skeleton, but the situation was different than from the first time. Perhaps it was because his strength was equivalent to a Heaven Saint Master, but he was clearly able to feel the distinct energy within the skeleton's bones. The energy within was like a vast ocean of water. Exhaling, Jian Chen slowly calmed down and closed his eyes. Then, communicating with the two sword spirits, he thought, Ziying, Qingsua, could you help me convert the Saint Ruler's skeleton into chaotic force? Yes, Master. Ziying and Qingsua both answered without hesitation and moved in coordination. From Jian Chen's hand came two glows of light, separating to form a male in violet robes and a female in azure robes. The male was handsome and the female was beautiful in a way that made them both seem like a pair of immortals married to each other. Ziying and Qingsua both held their hands up, causing the skeleton to fly up in between them through the use of some sort of hidden force. Ziying and Qingsua extended both arms now. A wave of azure and violet light wafted from them and enveloped the Saint Ruler's skeleton. The process of converting the skeleton was quite fast. After 4 hours or so, a gray-colored energy began to waft from the Saint Ruler's skeleton into Jian Chen's body, to where his dantian was. Master, use the azulate sword laws to refine the chaotic force. Ziying's voice could be heard within Jian Chen's mind before his person disappeared from Jian Chen's sight. As prompted, Jian Chen made use of the next 4 hours in order to refine the chaotic force into a force he could use. Following that, Jian Chen immediately looked within himself where a wall scroll suddenly appeared within his mind. In his dantian were two black-colored energies that slowly floated about with a presence that would quicken the heartbeat of anyone that felt it. Last time, Jian Chen had been able to use the two ruler armaments to convert them into chaotic force. With one strand, he was able to strengthen his body while the other had been kept in reserve. With this Saint Ruler's skeleton, he now had 2 strands of it. Seeing the 2 gray-colored wisps of energy in his dantian, Jian Chen hesitated for a moment before asking, if I were to use the chaotic force to strengthen my body, would that be a problem? The last time, Jian Chen had done so recklessly and caused his entire body to curl up in pain to the point where he was barely able to withstand it. There won't be a problem now, Master. You may use the chaotic force without a problem. Although it may hurt, it won't be as bad as before. The one who spoke was Qingsua with a melodic voice that was pleasant to hear. That's fine then. Jian Chen let loose a breath of air as he felt his heart ease up a little. Straight away, he began to use the chaotic force to temper his body. As the chaotic force coursed through his body, Jian Chen didn't feel as strong of a pain as before. Right now, the chaotic force was no longer destroying his body as it passed. Although there was still pain, it was well within Jian Chen's tolerance levels. It was just as Ziying said, Jian Chen would be able to withstand this. The chaotic force continued to slowly travel through his body while Jian Chen could feel his body strengthening at incredible speeds. His meridians, muscles all felt a noticeable improvement. Jian Chen's body made a single great leap in strength after the chaotic force completed a single circuit. He could distinctly feel that his body was far better than before, and the chaotic force had only used up 1/3 of itself. Without stopping, Jian Chen continued to make use of the chaotic force to strengthen his body. After the 3rd revolution, the strand of chaotic force had finally been used up completely. Jian Chen opened his eyes and nimbly leaped from his bed. Both feet planted squarely on the ground as he measured himself up and felt around his body. To his senses, he felt that he was many times stronger than before. Although his body was still flexible and firm, its defensive capabilities were many times stronger. Ziying, Qingsua, with my current body strength, will I be able to make use of the chaotic force? Jian Chen asked. You cannot, Master. While your body has indeed improved by a decent amount, it is still a far ways away from being able to use it. Master will need to use the chaotic force several more times before the minimum requirement is reached, but even then, Master would only be able to use an impure version of the chaotic force. Jian Chen sighed to himself. It seemed that even after successfully using the chaotic force, he would still not be able to use it. If it's like that, then leaving the other strand of chaotic force in my dantian is useless. I may as well use it to refine myself again to increase my body's strength. With that, Jian Qin sat back down and began to use the last strand of chaotic force to strengthen his body. After the second strand had been used up, it was already late in the afternoon. As soon as his consciousness returned to his body, Jian Qin could sense a maid standing quietly outside the door. Getting off the bed, Jian Qin inspected himself with a joyous expression after seeing the results. With my current body strength, even a peak great Saint Master won't constitute as a threat to me. If things go on like this, then perhaps there will be a day where even Heaven's Saint Masters will be unable to harm me. Although being unable to use the chaotic force was a great shame, the strength it had given his body was a thing to truly be happy about. Jian Qin happily walked out from his room only to see the maid that was outside his room salute him, a report for the honored imperial protector. The generals of the Eastern deity swords are here to seek an audience. A light in Jian Qin's eyes sparkled. Let them in. Yes. Not too long after, 3 armored generals came walking in from the outside. All 3 men had staunch expressions. One of them looked to be 60 years old while the other 2 were around 40 years old. All of them wore white armor and radiated a powerful aura that screamed for blood. We pay our respects to the Imperial Protector. The 3 men saluted Jian Qin. 3 generals, please rise. What shall I call you by? Jian Qin smiled kindly. General Qin Wuming, Vice Commander-in-Chief of the Eastern Deity Swords. The elder spoke first. Then, the 2 middle-aged men by his side revealed their names as well. General Qin Wutian, Military Governor of the Eastern Deity Swords. General Qin Wujian, Military Governor of the Eastern Deity Swords. 3 generals, I presume His Majesty has already explained the situation to you. Jian Qin smiled, but inwardly, he was surprised. All 3 of them had the same surname. Were they all related to the royal family? The Vice Commander-in-Chief of the Eastern Deity Swords nodded. Honored Imperial Protector, His Majesty has already explained everything. 500,000 soldiers from the Eastern Deity Swords have already arrived here from the Imperial City. As long as the order is given, we 3 father and sons will aid the Imperial Protector in any way and head through the space gate to the Jessan Kingdom. Jian Qin displayed a surprised look on his face. He hadn't thought that the 3 were father and sons. From their appearances, there was no differences between them. When he used his presence to measure their strength, he noticed that they had not bothered to hide their strengths. They were plain to see, and Jian Qin realized that all 3 of them were Heaven Saint Masters. The eldest, Qin Wuming, was a 3rd cycle Heaven Saint Master while the other 2 were 1st cycle Heaven Saint Masters. Jian Qin cupped his hands together. Then I will be bothering you 3 to follow me on a trip. If everyone is ready, we will make our preparations to leave now. Yes. Chapter 483, Arrival of the Army. Jian Qin and the 3 generals of the Eastern Deity Sword left the Qin Heaven Palace at once. The 3 generals parted ways with Jian Qin so that he could bid farewell to Qin Ji at the Flowing Cloud Palace while the generals would rally the army. Arriving at the Flowing Cloud Palace, the guards outside gave a respectful salute to Jian Qin without concealing the admiration they had for him and allowed him entry. Just as Jian Qin walked past several guards, one of them immediately called out, "The honored Imperial Protector has arrived." This was meant for Qin Ji to hear. With Jian Qin's superb identity, his status was different than what it was from before. To the guards, the status of being an Imperial Protector was more than enough to see Qin Ji. If Qin Ji did not come out to greet the Imperial Protector personally, then that would be a rude gesture. Sure enough, as soon as the guard's voice stopped, Qin Ji could be seen hurrying out from his palace room. Although he and Jian Qin were very close, Jian Qin's status was so high that Qin Ji didn't dare be rude to him. "Ha, Jian Qin, what winds are blowing today for you to come visit me? If you needed something, a message would be enough to suffice." Qin Ji laughed. Seeing that Jian Qin had personally came to find him had caused him to feel proud and delighted. "I came to say goodbye for now." Jian Qin smiled faintly as he spoke. Leaving so soon? Why not stay for a while? Qin Ji was rather reluctant to see Jian Chen leave so soon. Jian Chen had an apologetic look on his face. I have matters to attend to at home and so I must leave now. I am afraid that something may happen back home. Hearing this, Qin Ji had a silent look on his face as his eyebrows narrowed together in concern. Then, as if he had made up his mind, Qin Ji looked to Jian Chen with bright eyes. Jian Chen, allow me to come with you. What? Jian Chen looked at him in surprise. You wish to come to the Jessen kingdom with me? Qin Ji smiled and joked, I do. Do you not wish for me to? You've come to my homelands, am I not able to come to your homelands to take a look? Jian Chen smiled and put his hand onto Qin Ji's shoulder. I have no qualms with that. How could I not? You've welcomed me into your home, naturally, I have no doubts my family would be happy to receive you. Then all is well. I was worried whether or not your family would welcome me. Let's go then, off to your home. I have nothing to bring with, everything is already in my space ring. With that, Qin Ji left the palace with Jian Chen. Jian Chen and Qin Ji both walked from the palace and headed for the space gate. From far away, the both of them could see a squadron of silver-robed soldiers lined up right in front of the palace. Each one stood in a uniform position without a single soldier out of place. Their footsteps on the ground resonated with a rumbling sound, like a bolt of lightning crashing to the ground. Despite the monotonous sounds, the entire division leaked an elite aura and killing potential that soared into the sky. This was a testament to the fact that each and every single one of these soldiers had been tempered by the struggles of life and death. Each one of their hands were soaked in blood to rise up to the cream of the crop. These are the Eastern deity swords. They are well deserved of being called the division of the elites in the Qinhuang kingdom. Even the Jessen kingdom has only 3,000 people in its Black Armors division. At the sight of this, Jian Chen couldn't help but nod his head in approval. The Eastern deity swords are one of the 5 elite divisions in our Qinhuang kingdom. In total, there is 2 million of them. Each soldier capable of entering the Eastern deity swords is selected very carefully from the best of the best. Then, they are thrown to the borders of the Cross Mountains as a test of discipline to slaughter their way through the numerous magical beasts. Thus, each soldier in the Eastern deity swords has encountered many battles of life and death. In the Tian Yuan continent, only the elite divisions of the 3 great empires would be able to compare. Qin Ji explained with a prideful look. Truly a powerful army. If these 500,000 soldiers were to be in my homelands, then they would be able to eliminate any neighboring nation with ease. Jian Chen sighed in admiration. Qin Ji laughed. Eliminating a single kingdom would be nothing. These soldiers would be capable of destroying several kingdoms with ease. Our Qinhuang kingdom provides over 200 human tier battle skills and 50 earth tier battle skills for the soldiers in any of the elite divisions to learn. Thus, any soldier in any of the 5 divisions are capable of at least 1 battle skill. Such a strength like this couldn't compare to any smaller nation. Hearing this, Jian Chen was shocked in his heart. Battle skills in the Tian Yuan continent were extremely precious. Even if someone had one, they would not share it. Even the Jessen kingdom hadn't provided any of the Black Armors with a battle skill for free. Each one of them had to have a sufficient amount of strength and meritorious service before they could gain access to one. But the Qinhuang kingdom didn't even have to think about it to allow any one of the soldiers to learn from 200 human tier battle skills and 50 earth tier battle skills without charge. This was not a simple case of being rich. It is no wonder the Qinhuang kingdom is one of the 8 great empires. I cannot even fathom how strong the Qinhuang kingdom is. Jian Chen sighed as he re-evaluated the strength of the Qinhuang kingdom. Quickly, Jian Chen and Qin Ji both arrived in front of the space gate where the king of the Qinhuang kingdom was waiting for him along with 5 other elders. Imperial Protector, this king was worried that 500,000 soldiers wouldn't be enough, so I consulted with several imperial advisors and 5 of them agreed to come with you to wipe out the enemy nation. Allow me to introduce you to these 5. This is Su Ri, Hao Yun, Riber, Jadi Liar, and Jadi Kaijing. As the king introduced them, each person moved toward Jian Chen. We pay our respects to the imperial protector. After the king's introduction, the 5 elders bowed to Jian Chen respectfully. You 5 imperial advisors need not to be so polite. I, Jian Chen, truly appreciate your assistance. Jian Chen smiled politely and accepted the assistance of the 5. If he had these heaven saint masters return with him, then it would prevent the heavenly eagle kingdom from asking others for assistance. Although there were very few nations that would stand against the Qinhuang kingdom, they would not want to protect another kingdom from them. By this point, Qin Wuming had already led the eastern deity swords to the area where the space gate was. Without delay, Jian Chen handed the crystal Chao Kachin had given him along with a map of the Jessan kingdom to the imperial advisor in charge of the space gate there. The imperial advisor in charge of the space gate took the map from Jian Chen's hand and placed the crystal over the map. Then, he placed 4 Class 5 monster cores to supply enough energy for the array to activate. Slowly, the array on the ground began to light up and form a chaotic space within the gates. After some time, the space within the gates finally began to form a clear picture. Under Jian Chen's watchful eye, he could see that this spot was the exact position where Chao Kachin had placed the other crystal. Jian Chen could even see the faraway city walls of Lore City. Yes, this is the area, let's go. Jian Chen answered. Then crossing over through the space gate, he went from the Qinhuang kingdom to Lore City faster than the blink of an eye. After crossing the space gate, Jian Chen looked to the faraway Lore City only to see it as it originally was. A countless stream of people could be seen going in and out without worry or panic. At this sight, Jian Chen sighed in relief. It appeared that nothing had happened during the time he had left. Jian Chen, is this your homeland? Qin Ji walked through the space gate and followed behind Jian Chen with a curious glance at the city. Correct, my family is in that city. Jian Chen nodded. Soon, the 3 generals of the Eastern Deity swords came out from the space gate with the white-armored Eastern Deity sword soldiers filing out after them. As the men walked past the space gate, each one of them looked around the place with a curious glance. They were all curious of what type of place the Imperial Protector came from. Imperial Protector, where should our division set up a base? Qin Wuming asked Jian Chen. Jian Chen looked around the area as he considered the question. It's quite limited within the city, fitting 500,000 soldiers would be far too hard. Since this area is spacious enough, let us set up camp here. Yes. Qin Wuming cupped his hands together before running to command the soldiers who had already crossed the space gate. Not too long after, hundreds of soldiers stood in the area, and under the command of General Qin Wuming, they spread out so that there would be enough room for the rest of the soldiers. Jian Chen stood not too far away from the space gate and watched the soldiers appear from the other side. Qin Ji, how long do you think it'll take for all the soldiers to arrive here? Qin Ji watched the space gate for a moment before swiftly making several calculations in his head. With this speed, it should take 2 hours for 30,000 soldiers to arrive. With 24 hours in a day, we should be able to have 360,000 soldiers. So that means a day and a half will be what it takes. Jian Chen nodded his head and stood there calmly. Watching the Eastern Deity Sword soldiers tread out from the space gate in an unending stream, a grand feeling welled within Jian Chen. Within Lore City, one of the head guards was casually reading a book within his study when several soldiers came running in. Kneeling, they spoke, a report for the officer. A large group of unknowns have appeared 10 kilometers away from the city. Each one of them is wearing armor, meaning they are an army of some sort. However, their numbers keep increasing, and they are already within the thousands. Hearing this, the captain's face was shocked. Immediately throwing down his book, he ran out of his study. The matter between the Jessan Kingdom and the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom was no secret and had already made its way around the entire Jessan Kingdom. So when thousands of soldiers suddenly appeared, the captain's heart immediately grew unsteady. Chapter 484, To War. 1. The captain surveyed the scene from above the city walls only to see that, 10 kilometers away, a large group of people could be seen. Despite the distance, he could see that all of the soldiers were wearing silver-white armor. Where did they come from? The captain asked. We don't know, it's like they appeared out of thin air. Even now, even more people are joining them. One of the other vice-captains spoke in terror. The captain hesitated from his spot on the walls for a brief moment as he watched even more soldiers join with the already large amount of soldiers. The perimeter they were in continued to expand without a misstep at all. There was an order to each and every one of them, so it could be seen that they were all extremely disciplined. By this point, plenty of people in Lore City had discovered this group of soldiers. It was not limited to only soldiers, but even the merchants and mercenaries who were entering and leaving the city had noticed their existence. Some of the more courageous mercenaries couldn't help but feel curious and rode on a mount toward the area. The captain had a grim expression on his face as he stared at the mercenaries moving closer to the soldiers. He wanted to use them in order to determine whether these soldiers were friends or foe. If they were enemies, then these mercenaries would not be able to survive. As an added bonus, he wouldn't need to expend any forces that could potentially die. Quickly, several hundred mercenaries got close to the eastern deity swords from the Qinhuang kingdom. When they drew closer, the soldiers immediately blocked their path so they wouldn't be able to get any closer or be able to see just what was happening inside. The chi and killing intent these soldiers were exuding was extremely potent and displayed their strengths on an incredible level. Their bloodthirsty aura alone was enough to show that they were a powerful army. The nature of the Eastern deity swords was intense, and their explosive auras was enough to cause the mercenaries to shrink back in defeat. Who are you? One of the more brave mercenaries asked, prompting several of the soldiers to glare at him icily. Turning pale, the mercenary took several involuntary steps away. With their eyes, he felt as if he had been staring at the eyes of a dangerous magical beast. With such pressure, he did not have the courage to continue talking to them. When the captain saw that the soldiers had not started to fight, he let out a sigh in relief. Knowing that they were not enemies, he called out to the people next to him, "Report to the city lord and the Changyang clan, tell them what has happened here." Yes. The soldier immediately ran off. Afterward, the captain led a group of 500 soldiers away from Lore City to see the situation for himself. When the captain got within 50 meters of the concentration of soldiers, he dismounted from his magical beast mount and strode forward with his head held high. However, when he drew close to the soldiers, several icy glares concentrated on him and brought forth an indomitable amount of pressure. Blanching for a moment, the captain steeled his heart while hiding his shock. As an Earth Saint Master, he was somehow pressured by these soldiers. This was very surprising to him. "Sires, I am the head guard of Lore City, Tu Fu, where might your group come from?" The captain cupped his hands together in respect, but the soldiers only looked at him coldly without giving a response. Tu Fu displayed an embarrassed look on his face. He had been intimidated by the awesome might these soldiers were exuding. In his heart, he didn't feel any displeasure. He soon turned his eyes away to look for anyone within the crowd, but he was only able to see a third of the entire forces. Even then, he wasn't able to find anyone of importance. Without the ability to fly, he wouldn't be able to differentiate anyone from the crowd. Plus, with the people constantly moving about, any newcomer wouldn't even be noticed as they expanded. Just who are these people and where are they coming from? Could it be there is some sort of secret passage? The captain inferred to himself. However, when he felt that no hostility could be felt from the soldiers, they most likely weren't enemies. Otherwise, these soldiers would have charged straight for the city and razed it at once. At that moment, the captain suddenly saw the soldiers start to make a 3-meter path for a few men to walk through the crowd of soldiers. At this point, the captain's face had straightened. He had to guess that these men were the leaders of these soldiers and immediately grew serious. The two youths walking in front looked to be around 20 years old with auras that were by no means ordinary. When the captain saw Jian Chen, his heart skipped a beat and immediately went to salute him. Tu Fu pays his respect to the fourth master. Although very few men knew what Jian Chen looked like, Tu Fu was one of the few that did. So when his eyes landed upon Jian Chen, he immediately went to salute him. Jian Chen arrived right in front of Tu Fu and spoke, "Officer Tu Fu, take your men and go back, you needn't bother yourself with the matters here. This officer will do as instructed." Tu Fu cupped his hands before giving an order to the people behind him. With Jian Chen's status as an imperial protector of the Jessan Kingdom, he had full authority to command the commanding officer of Lore City. "Let us head into the city." Jian Chen spoke to the people behind him before bringing Qin Ji into the air and headed toward Lore City. Right behind him, the 5 imperial advisors and 3 generals immediately surrounded themselves with the elements of the world and flew up into the air after Jian Chen. Tu Fu hadn't even gotten far away from the soldiers when he saw the sight, much to his shock. Both of his eyes grew wide as he cried out, "Dear heavens! They're all Heaven Saint Masters." Seeing Jian Chen and the others fly into the sky, it took Tu Fu a long period of time to regain his wits. Letting out a long breath of air to quench the surprise in his heart, he muttered to himself in a daze, "The fourth master of the Changyang clan is amazing. I have no idea just how he was able to bring so many Heaven Saint Masters over." As Jian Chen disappeared into the sky, Tu Fu had a look of admiration on his face. Jian Chen and the group's flight was quick. Not too long later, they arrived in the sky above the Changyang clan where a large group of people could be seen staring slack-jawed as the group descended. As soon as they descended, 5 incredibly strong sources of qi could be felt shooting toward them. Chang Wuji, Chao Kachin, Deng Yijunbai, Tian Luo, and Qing Xiaofan came flying past with their presences radiating into the sky. The arrival of several Heaven Saint Masters had startled them and they had thought that the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom had come by once more. Thus, they radiated a strong amount of presence in hopes of intimidating the other party. However, when they saw the men in front of them was Jian Chen, they let loose a joyful expression and instantly cut down their spike in qi. Imperial Protector. Qing Xiaofan and the others cried out as Jian Chen arrived with their hands cupped together. Chang Wuji stood by the side with a surprised expression at the people by Jian Chen's side. His heart had been sent in a flux, but was quickly turning into a gratified smile. "I had no idea that in the few days that the fourth master was gone, he would bring back 8 Heaven Saint Masters." Chang Wuji thought to himself happily. With the fourth master having such capabilities, Chang Wuji could already see him leading the Changyang clan into a future with meteoric success. "What has happened in the 2 days I was gone? Has there been any news from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom?" Jian Chen asked calmly. "Everything has been the same. We aren't sure what is happening within the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, but no individual has come over to start any trouble yet. All of the Heaven Saint Masters are now aware that His Majesty had nearly been kidnapped, and now the strongest 3 have gathered within the palace. Combined with the original individual there, the Imperial Palace has 4 Heaven Saint Masters there. Shao Tian is there as well to make 5. So only Lore City was in need of strength, so I returned to safeguard the place," Qing Xiaofan spoke. "Good." Jian Chen nodded his head in satisfaction before turning to Chang Wuji, "Uncle Chang, this is my brother, the 3rd prince of the Qinhuang Kingdom, Qin Ji. These 5 are the imperial advisors of the Qinhuang Kingdom and these 3 right here are the generals of the Qinhuang Kingdom's strongest division, the Eastern Deity Swords. The 9 of them have agreed to come from the Qinhuang Kingdom to help deal with the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom." Daring not to be negligent, Chang Wuji addressed each one of them with several words of greeting. Then, Chang Wuji began to invite every single one of them into a nearby inn with excitement. When Chang Yangba gained wind of the news, he knew that this was an undeniably tremendous event for the Changyang clan and the Jessan Kingdom. He couldn't afford to do nothing, so he immediately called out for the inn to prepare the most luxurious, grandest feast to receive the newcomers. Since these newcomers were the imperial advisors, generals, and prince of the Qinhuang kingdom, their statuses made many of the elders in the Changyang clan feel weak in the knees. Thus, the amount of people qualified to join in on this banquet had not been many. Aside from Chang Wuji, only Jian Chen and his immediate family had been able to join. Since Princess Yu Yu was Jian Chen's future bride, she had been given a seat. Ming Dong and Du Gufeng both had unique statuses as well and were given spots as well. The 10 imperial advisors, 3 generals, and the prince shared the same table as Changyang Ba, Bai Yuntian, Chang Wuji and several others. Because the imperial advisors had been forewarned of the relationship between the imperial protector and Changyang Ba, the 5 imperial advisors and generals were extremely courteous to the father and mother of Jian Chen. At another table, Jian Chen, Ming Dong, Du Gufeng, Yu Yu, Qin Ji and several others were chatting among each other. The majority of them knew each other from the gathering of mercenaries, so they were well acquainted with one another and happy to meet once more. Just as everyone was chatting to each other over some wine, both the city lord and the Changyang clan gained a report of the sudden appearance of an army just outside Lore City. The report was given to the elders of the Changyang clan first, but they already knew of the finer details and couldn't help but smile without a care in the world. However, the city lord was not as calm as the elders were. Throwing down the report, he brought several divisions of his army to rush on out. As the city lord stood on top of the walls of Lore City, the amount of soldiers 10 kilometers away had already swelled to 20,000. Several groups began to hoist their banners into the air, where the large character for Qin could be seen. Seeing the Qin character on the banners, the city lord's eyes flashed with recognition. An indescribable feeling overwhelmed his thoughts. Could they be an army from the Qinhuang kingdom? Chapter 485, To War, 2, Impossible, this can't be the army of the Qinhuang kingdom. The Qinhuang kingdom is too far away from the Jessan kingdom. Just how would they be able to appear right outside our Lore City so suddenly? The ruler of Lore City asked as he tried to understand this unrealistic scene in front of him. My lord. The captain Tu Fu arrived by the ruler's side. Tu Fu, just where did this group come from? Are they enemies, or are they friends? Is there some sort of secret passageway I'm not aware of over in that location? The city lord's eyes stared at the scene in front of him as he spoke softly to Tu Fu. My lord, this general knows not where the group has come from, but I was able to confirm they are friends rather than foes due to the fact that the 4th master from the Changyang clan, Changyang Xiangtian, came with them. Furthermore. At this point, Tu Fu's voice suddenly stopped as his face took on a look of shock. The city lord's eyes turned to look at Tu Fu and questioned, furthermore? Tu Fu let out a long breath of air before steeling himself. Furthermore, 9 Heaven Saint Masters came with the 4th Master. From their faces, they are not from our Jessan kingdom. Qin Ji had been carried into the air by Jian Chen, but Tu Fu hadn't been paying close attention so he had mistaken Qin Ji as a Heaven Saint Master. What? 9 Heaven Saint Masters. The city lord was in shock and utter disbelief. 9 Heaven Saint Masters may not be much for the Qinhuang kingdom, but for them to send so many to such a faraway kingdom was to send an unbelievable amount of military might beyond what most would believe. Even in the golden age of the Jessan kingdom, they had only 11 Heaven Saint Masters to their name. I must go to the Changyang clan right away to see the situation for myself. Without delay, the lord ran down from the walls and mounted his horse to ride off toward the Changyang clan. When the lord arrived, he was received by a high-ranking elder of the Changyang clan. Changyang Qing, you and I have known each other for years. Would it be possible for you to tell me the identities of the newly arrived Heaven Saint Masters in your clan? The lord smiled mischievously at the elder. The elder gave a faint smile and replied, if the city lord knows that much, then telling you won't hurt. They are all from the Qinhuang kingdom. There are a total of 9 that came, one of them being the prince of the Qinhuang kingdom. There are 3 generals while the remaining 5 are imperial advisors. The city lord's face grew sluggish from such information. At this moment, his heart started to race at an incredible speed. The fact that so many Heaven Saint Masters were congregated together in Lore City astounded him to the point of utter disbelief. Each one of the Heaven Saint Masters had a majestic status. If they were not a prince, then they were a general or imperial advisor. If these people were placed within the Jesson kingdom, the amount of pressure they held could kill a person just by standing there. At this moment, with so many high-ranking people in Lore City, the city lord felt a sense of terror. Now that he had finished making inquiries, the city lord didn't choose to stay within the area and left. This time, with so many high-ranking officials of the Qinhuang kingdom, the city lord didn't feel that he held the rights to see them. Back within his mansion, the lord of Lore City immediately went to his study. Not long afterward, a single Class 2 lightning bird flew out from his study with a letter that shot toward the imperial palace of the Jesson kingdom. After the feast had ended, the 5 imperial advisors and 3 generals were led by Chang Wuji to their rooms while Qin Ji was led by Jian Chen. The graceful Bai Yuntian walked up to Jian Chen with a loving look on her face as she spoke. "Xiang'er, your mother has some matter she needs to take care of. Receive the guest as well as you can without delay, understood?" Bai Yuntian smiled. Happiness had long since returned to her. Jian Chen's return had brought so much joy to her heart that practically every single member of the Changyang clan could see that her mood had taken a complete turn. Gradually, she had reverted back to the proper 4th lady of the Changyang clan. "Mother, go and do what you need to do. Your son knows what to do." In front of his mother Bai Yuntian, Jian Chen was like an obedient child. Seeing this for the first time, Qin Ji was slack-jawed at the sight. It was almost as if the Jian Chen in front of him was a completely different person. After Bai Yuntian had left, Jian Chen brought Ming Dong, Qin Ji, and the others away from the inn, toward the reconstruction of the Changyang clan. The construction was moving at a nice pace with about 1,000 artisans working day and night to rebuild it. All sorts of high-grade materials were brought in an endless stream as well, transforming the ruins of the clan into something grand in several days. The rebuilt Changyang clan wasn't going to have any major changes, but the range of area it would cover would be expanded twice over while a road would go around it. Qin Ji looked all around the reconstructing Changyang clan before asking, "Jian Chen, is this your home?" Jian Chen nodded, "Yes, this is my home, but a few days ago, the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom destroyed it. How hateful the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom is, they cannot be forgiven for this. Jian Chen, how do you plan on dealing with the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom?" Qin Ji spoke with an especially grim expression. "Wait until the Eastern deity swords fully ensemble. Then we will march to the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom." Jian Chen spoke without a second consideration. "Changyang Xiangtian, I hope you will notify my father of this matter." The princess suddenly spoke by Jian Chen's side. In her eyes, a small amount of bitterness could be seen. "Ha, Princess Yu, you needn't worry. I've already notified His Majesty. I am sure His Majesty will be coming over soon enough." Jian Chen smiled. The princess quirked her lips as she gave an unhappy look to Jian Chen. After a while of silence, she spoke up once more, "Changyang Xiangtian, let me go with you to the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom." The princess knew that Jian Chen was the main pillar of the group. As long as he agreed, even her father wouldn't object. Hearing this, Jian Chen's eyebrows furrowed together to look at the petite face of the princess. With a grim voice, he spoke, "This time there will most definitely be a bloodbath. You have never experienced such a scene before, are you still willing?" The princess' eyes reflected with no fear as she stared back at Jian Chen. Resolutely, she said, "It is because I have never experienced it before that I wish to go. It doesn't matter if this is my first time, this is what I must do to steel my heart and hone myself." "Very well then." With that, Jian Chen could not find any reason to decline her. She had spoken correctly as well. When it came to the bloody battles of war, this was something that a woman would have to go through to refine herself. Outside of Lore City, two middle-aged men rode upon two Class 3 magical beast mounts at a furious pace toward the city walls. One of them was a large-built man with a robust constitution while the other was a rather frail-looking middle-aged man. The man with the burly muscles held a large boiled chicken and was slowly chewing on the greasy meat. Still with food in his mouth, he spoke, "The city in front of us must be Lore City. After so long, we've finally arrived. How absolutely tiring. Yeah, we'll be in Lore City soon enough. Wipe off the oil on your mouth, this is a large city, so we have to be mindful of our appearances." The middle-aged man couldn't help but complain about the other man's current appearance. "This one knows already." The burly man began to tear off the rest of the chicken and stuffed it in his mouth. Then, throwing the remaining parts of it onto the ground, he took out a towel from his space belt to wipe off the oil. These two men were Signorin and Yunzheng, who had been traveling through the Jessan Kingdom all this time. Traveling and stopping at several points, it had taken them several days before they had finally arrived at Lore City. As the two drew close to Lore City, Signorin suddenly took notice of the Eastern deity swords not too far away. With a startled cry, he spoke, "Oi, Yunzheng, look. There's a base nearby." Hearing this, Yunzheng looked to where Signorin was pointing, toward the group of people 5 kilometers away. There were about 56,000 men with plenty of camps and banners flying about. When Yunzheng's eyes landed upon the banner flying overhead, he grew startled as well. "What? They're an army from the Qinhuang Kingdom." "What? Qinhuang Kingdom? Yunzheng, are you sure you didn't look at it wrong? The Qinhuang Kingdom is so far away, just how would their armies come running over here?" Signorin spoke in disbelief. "Correct, that's clearly the banner of the Qinhuang Kingdom without any doubt." Yunzheng spoke seriously. "Forget it. Who cares what kingdom they're from? It has nothing to do with us. We might as well hurry into the city." The two men lined up to enter the city only to realize that the security to enter was extremely strict. No matter whom the person was, they were interrogated before finally being admitted into the city. Entering the city seems to be quite annoying. Signorin complained rather impatiently. The times in the Jessan Kingdom have been relatively unsafe. Especially with what happened in Lore City a few days back, their security now makes sense. Quickly, it was their turn to be interrogated. The soldiers blocked the path for the two while asking, "Who are you two, and what matters do you have in Lore City?" You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.